Chapter 1245. After entangling the ice dragon skeleton, Night Sorrow's right arm fiercely pulled. The extreme cold current dragged the ice dragon skeleton's enormous energy. Night Sorrow was pulling the ice dragon skeleton, but the dragon cauldron was also being dragged. The ice dragon skeleton was big, so it was affected by the extreme cold current. The dragon cauldron was unable to stabilize itself and was being dragged. "Try your best to stabilize it," Night Sorrow growled. His right hand grabbed the ice dragon tendon and did not let go. The extreme cold current was moving forward. The dragon cauldron shone brightly to suppress the space and not be dragged away. Ice Chilin also came to help. One of its claws wrapped around the ice dragon tendon and helped Night Sorrow pull. The dragon cauldron's ability to suppress space was very strong, but it could not withstand the extreme cold current. The ice dragon skeleton was being dragged forward. Don't get sucked into the spatial turbulence. Control the direction. Control the pulling at the edge of the cold current. Night Sorrow shouted at the dragon cauldron. It was now the critical moment. The extreme cold current was dragging the dragon cauldron. However, the extreme cold current was fast, so the dragon cauldron was being dragged slower. In 15 minutes they had covered a distance of 1,000 miles. Genuine first release in just 15 minutes, the dragon cauldron had been dragged 1,000 miles. However, the ice dragon skeleton was also dragged to the tail of the extreme cold current by Night Sorrow and the dragon cauldron. "Steady!" Night Sorrow roared again. His soul power and body energy poured into the dragon cauldron and the weapon spirit to suppress the space. Because of the danger, another extreme cold current appeared. In another 100 miles, the two cold currents would converge. If they could not drag the ice dragon skeleton out, they would have to give up. The dragon cauldron spun quickly. It shone brightly and drilled into the ground. Night Sorrow and Ice Chilin pulled the ice dragon tendon with all their might. Right now, a knot on the ice dragon tendon was stuck on the ice dragon claw. If it was the ice dragon skin net, it would have been torn apart. At this moment, Night Sorrow pushed the dragon cauldron to the limit. After enduring for a while, the extreme cold current passed, leaving behind a lifelike ice dragon skeleton. With a shake of his arm and a burst of soul force, Night Sorrow stored the ice dragon skeleton into the dragon cauldron. He then sat down and rested. This period of tension and excitement made him realize that he didn't have much energy left in his body. It was all gone. Night Sorrow started to recover after eating the pellet. It was very important to always be in peak condition in the ice dragon realm, because all kinds of unexpected events could happen at any time. After cultivating for half a day, Night Sorrow finally recovered to his peak state. This time he had consumed too much energy. After recovering, Night Sorrow suppressed his excitement and looked at the newly obtained ice dragon skeleton. The ice dragon skeleton inside the dragon cauldron was lifelike. There was a look of vicissitudes in its eyes. Night Sorrow saw determination, unwillingness, and unyielding in its eyes. It was unwillingness to die and unyielding in the face of the heavenly Tao's punishment until the end of its life. It was a big harvest, but Night Sorrow knew that this was not the skeleton of an ice dragon. The ice dragon's scales had a golden glow, but the one in front of him did not. But even if it was not the skeleton of an ice dragon, its value was still very high. In order to obtain this ice dragon skeleton, Night Sorrow had paid a great price. The dragon cauldron burned for a while, and 2,000 Saint Spirit stones were used up. Of course this was nothing. What Night Sorrow had paid was the risk of an accident. Looking at the ice dragon skeleton, Night Sorrow had some thoughts in his heart. The dead ice dragon still had the temperament to fight against the heavens. Even when a dragon died, its will would not waver. Even when a tiger died, it would not lower its head. Even when it reached the end of its life, the ice dragon's eyes did not yield. It was still full of determination. The will of the heavens was like a blade. Without enough strength, it would be destroyed by the heavenly Tao. The lightning tribulation and the wind tribulation were manifestations of the will of the heavens. The wind tribulation and the wind tribulation were the fate of the ice dragon clan. Night Sorrow looked at the ice dragon's corpse. He felt that even if the ice dragon skeleton was a valuable material, it could not be destroyed. Night Sorrow felt that it was blasphemous. In the future he would stay in Seven Night City or Sky City to be a guardian god. This was Night Sorrow's decision. The damaged skeleton could be used as a material. Night Sorrow felt that it was not suitable to use the undamaged ice dragon skeleton as a material. Shaking off his thoughts, Night Sorrow continued forward. He still had to collect the treasures in the extreme cold current. Since he was here, it was worth it. He could accumulate some good things for the 9-domain world. Although Night Sorrow came to the Ice Dragon realm for his own future, it was also for the Nine-Domain world. It was to search for treasures for the Nine-Domain world and create a powerful defensive formation for the Nine-Domain world. Advancing towards the Ice Dragon Abyss, Night Sorrow continued to grab treasures in the extreme cold current. There were not many opportunities like this. As for the Ice Dragon Skin Tendon net at the beginning, it could not be used. The Dragon Tendon was not damaged, but the Dragon Skin net was damaged. However, making a net did not require much dragon skin. It was not even 1/10 of the damaged Ice Dragon's body. After making another dragon skin net, Night Sorrow continued to compete with the extreme cold current and continued to collect materials. The materials in the extreme cold current were very mixed, but they were all extremely high grade. The low-grade materials had already been destroyed in the extreme cold current. Now was the chance to earn materials. After reaching the Ice Dragon Abyss, Night Sorrow would have to change his path. He would have to go to the Ice Dragon Ancestral Land. He still had to try his luck with the Ice Dragon's bones. If it really didn't work, then he would activate the Illusion Array Disc and then use the Transmission Array Disc to leave. Night Sorrow was very satisfied with his harvest. He did not go back because he still had a chance to try his luck. After fishing up some treasures in the extreme cold current once again, Night Sorrow entered the Dragon Cauldron to rest. At this time Datura arrived. After connecting to the concentric crystal, Night Sorrow showed Datura the Ice Dragon's bones he had collected. This is a complete Ice Dragon skeleton. Although it's not an Ice Dragon skeleton, it's still extremely valuable. You're really good. Datura's eyes were filled with astonishment. It was extremely difficult to obtain the Ice Dragon skeleton. One had to know that the Ice Dragon was a group of creatures. Before they died, they would all return to the Ice Dragon's ancestral land. My luck is good, but in order to obtain it, I really spent a lot of effort. It was not easy. When my attainments in array formations are deep enough, then I will place it in the Seven Nights City or the City in the Sky. If the Nine Regions world develops well, then I will place it in the City in the Sky and let it be the guardian god. That way I will not blaspheme it. Night Sorrow said. Your way of thinking is correct. In fact, when you become stronger, no one will touch Seven Nights City. No one is stupid. The Nine-Domain world is your root. You can't destroy your foundation and touch your Seven Nights City? Only a fool would do that. Datura said. Night Sorrow nodded. This was the truth. In a situation where he couldn't do anything to himself, anyone who touched the Seven Nights City would trigger his revenge. I'm not far from the Ice Dragon Abyss. When I get there, I'll take a look at the situation. That's the core of the Ice Dragon world, but it's hard to say if I can find the Ice Dragon's ancestral land. Night Sorrow said. You can't force it. The Ice Dragon's ancestral land is the place that the Ice Dragons value the most. It can even be said that there are high-level Ice Dragons patrolling the area. The Ice Dragon's patriarch might also be nearby. Datura said. Chapter 1246. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew some things, but what he needed to do now was to be even more cautious. Datura told Night Sorrow some other things. The Sky Profound World's Tiannan dynasty had made some big moves recently. They were taking in some small forces and were about to surround Seven Nights City. Jump. Wait for me to go back and deal with them. It's time to settle this matter. Night Sorrow let out a breath. When he mentioned Tiannan dynasty, he was angry. Shang Tianfeng was a scum with an extremely bad character. It's just a small force. The leader is a 5-star king. Why don't I help you get rid of them? Datura said. No. I have to do it myself. This is the hatred of our Night clan. Night Sorrow said. Okay, then I'll wait for you to come back and deal with them. You should have the ability to deal with them. Datura said. Night Sorrow nodded. When his time attribute advanced to a 2-star king, Night Sorrow had the thought of dealing with Tiannan dynasty. However, he felt that it was still not enough because Tiannan dynasty had 3 kings. He alone was not enough. With a 4-star king and an Ice Qilin by his side, Night Sorrow felt that it was enough. He could take down Tiannan without relying on external forces. After chatting for a while, Datura reminded Night Sorrow to be careful again and again. Then he disconnected the concentric crystal. Shang Tianfeng, it's time to pay back the debt. Night Sorrow let out a breath. In Night Sorrow's heart he could not care less. He could let go of some grudges if he could. For example, Qinglin and Qingwan, it was not a big deal. He also did not hold on to the matter of Yanmen's sect. However, he could not do it in the Tiannan Empire. Shang Tianfeng had done something that angered both humans and gods. He must die. Positive hashtag, version Night Sorrow didn't know what was going on with Yi Qianhua and Yi Tian. Night Sorrow felt that they were all people with accumulated experience and had the chance to enter the king's realm. When Yi Tian and Yi Qianhua went out to explore by themselves, Night Sorrow didn't ask. Elders also had their dignity and weren't willing to live under his wings. After pondering for a while, Night Sorrow put down his thoughts and continued forward. Destroying the Sky South dynasty was something he would do after leaving this place. As for the Sky South dynasty wanting to attack Seven Night City now with Datura there, they would definitely be safe and sound. Night Sorrow laughed at himself. Now he was really relying on a woman to protect him. As he moved forward, Night Sorrow got closer and closer to the Ice Dragon Abyss. However, there were fewer and fewer treasures in the cold current, so there were no treasures that could be spat out. This made Night Sorrow very puzzled. It wasn't easy to find a way to collect them, so why were there no treasures left? After observing for a while, Night Sorrow found the crux of the problem. In the past, the cold current was surging wildly. Now it was spinning cold current, so it couldn't spit out anything. Cycle. Night Sorrow felt that this might be the cycle of the extreme cold current. It should be divided into different periods. There was only one type of cold current in each period. The current circling cold current was an extreme cold current that could not bring out resources. Night Sorrow didn't have any other emotions that he couldn't accept. He understood that everything had a limit. He had already collected a lot of extreme quality materials. If he kept collecting them, it would destroy the balance of the heavens. As he continued to move forward towards the Ice Dragon Abyss, Night Sorrow looked at the map. According to the map carver's estimation, the Ice Dragon's ancestral land was 1,000,000 miles to the east of the Ice Dragon Abyss. However, the map carver back then didn't manage to enter the Ice Dragon's ancestral land and was chased away by the Ice Dragon. In order to avoid being attacked by the Monarch rank Ice Dragon, the people who entered were all below the Monarch rank. It was unrealistic for those below the Monarch rank to fight their way out of the Ice Dragon's core area. They were all like thieves. If they were discovered, they could only run. No one was an exception. Night Sorrow was very careful. When he moved forward, he used his soul power to the maximum. If he discovered the Ice Dragon first, he would hide. If he was discovered by the Ice Dragon first, there was only one way out, and that was to run. Ling Ju and the others were the same. No one dared to be arrogant. They all moved forward secretly. Now there were only 4 people left with him. The others had been killed by the Ice Dragon. Tang Bo and his companions were also sitting together and discussing. It was wrong for us to kill the Ice Dragon first, Tang Bo said to the people beside him. I don't understand what you mean, Yu Guan said, shaking his head. From the looks of it, the Ice Dragon clan is very vigilant. Can be said that they are not in a deep sleep. This is because the Ice Dragon clan leader has notified them. Otherwise, there would not be such a situation. There is only one reason for the Ice Dragon clan leader to issue such a warning order, and that is to discover the fall of his clansmen. Tang Bo said his analysis. The Ice Dragon King and the Ice Dragon Patriarch were 2 different concepts. Ice Dragons could be Ice Dragons leaders, but Ice Dragons leaders were not necessarily Ice Dragons. Ice Dragons leaders were status, while Ice Dragons were status. The 2 had different meanings. King, sometimes you don't have to think too much. Even if we don't kill it, there might be others who will. The situation should be as it is. At least we have already obtained an Ice Dragon's corpse, Yu Guan said. Tang Bo nodded. He was just lamenting for a moment. After the team had rested, Tang Bo looked at the group of people and said, We have already entered the hinterland of the Ice Dragon realm, which is also the core of the Ice Dragon clan. Danger is everywhere, and our requirement for ourselves is to avoid being discovered by the Ice Dragon, but sometimes things might not be caused by us. When there is danger, don't hesitate. I will cover the rear. You all retreat immediately. Gather at the rendezvous point we have set and then retreat. What? Another team member asked. How should I put it? We can't be sure that we are the only ones who have entered the hinterland of the Ice Dragons. Maybe there are others who have entered. No matter who they are, as long as they are discovered by the Ice Dragons, they will conduct a thorough search. We can't hide. In other words, no matter who it is in the hinterland of the Ice Dragons, as long as an outsider is discovered by the Ice Dragons, it will be a monstrous matter. No one will have another chance and they will all be killed and expelled. We can only hope that the others have not arrived. This way our fate is still in our hands. Tang Bo explained the reason for his order. Tang Bo explained and continued to lead the team. He was advancing according to the map drawn by his ancestors. At this time, there were several other teams entering the hinterland of the Ice Dragons from different directions. They were all relatively strong teams. In the Xinwu Great World, the teams of the Zhanwu dynasty and the Hall of Martial Gods had also arrived in this area. In the Xinhuang world there was another team besides Tang Bo. As for the world of Samsara, Ling Ju and his team had arrived. The blood-robed guards, the Qing Emperor's guards, and the people of the Black Fiend Valley were still in the peripheral area. Their map was not complete, so they were slow. Night Sorrow found the mysterious ice river first. With the help of the ice Qilin they arrived here first. Night Sorrow was not far from the ice dragon abyss at this time. The extremely cold air was very difficult for him to bear. He had to use energy to protect his body. Chapter 1247. Night Sorrow's body had the strength of a 2-star king, but he still could not withstand the extreme cold of the ice dragon abyss. He could only disperse the desolation's energy into his body and combine it with his body's energy to withstand the extreme cold and move forward. Night Sorrow did not want to use a protective shield because the energy fluctuations would be easily detected. Night Sorrow was very careful as he was already close to the ice dragons. If he was not careful, he would have to use the teleportation formation disc to escape. Maybe he could escape, but once the ice dragons were alert, it would be harder to enter the second time, so it was best not to be discovered. Night Sorrow felt pretty good as he walked alone in this world of ice and snow. If he was not afraid of being discovered, he would really want to roar a few times. The different feeling gave Night Sorrow a different state of mind. Night Sorrow thought it through. It was right to be careful, but there was no need to feel pressured. If there were gains, there would be gains. If there were none, he could not force it. He had gained enough in the ice dragon realm. He could not be greedy. If there were any gains, he would treat it calmly. With energy protecting the wine jar, Night Sorrow drank 2 big mouthfuls of wine and continued forward. Night Sorrow felt much more relaxed. Forward. He kept moving forward every day. When he was tired, Night Sorrow would rest in the dragon cauldron. He also refined a broadsword for his son and a light longsword for his daughter. Because it was just a transition from childhood, Night Sorrow did not refine a high-grade one, but he put in a lot of effort. This was his first gift as a father. Night Sorrow had been exploring for 3 years. His child was already 4 years old and had already started to cultivate under the guidance of his mother and aunts. His son and daughter both liked to cultivate, so Night Sorrow did not stop them. He did not want to force his children to do anything, including cultivation. But if his children liked it, he would definitely support them. In the words of Summer City, Night Sorrow was very doting when it came to children. Night Sorrow had his own thoughts. His childhood and youth were a little tiring, but his child didn't need it. His hard work was enough. He would fight for the sky for his family. Night Sorrow doted on her, but Sikong Chuyu Aoi and Yang Lei were very strict. Since the child was talented, they couldn't waste it and had to work hard to cultivate. Thinking of his family, Night Sorrow's heart felt warm because he had a warm family, a family that was worth fighting for. After advancing for more than 10 days, Night Sorrow approached the ice dragon abyss. Night Sorrow knew that there was a difference in safety. There was no small danger, but if there was, it would be extremely dangerous. If there was an ice dragon near the ice dragon abyss, it would be a top-tier monarch. Monarch rank ice dragons were all in deep slumber and would not wake up easily. However, if they did, it would be fatal. Night Sorrow felt that he shouldn't look for trouble. As long as the monarch rank ice dragon didn't wake up, he could get through this. Night Sorrow constantly channeled the power of desolates into his body. He even drank a drop of spiritual liquid of origin and life liquid of life every once in a while to replenish his energy. The extreme cold consumed a lot of Night Sorrow's energy, so he needed to replenish it. After replenishing his energy, Night Sorrow continued forward. 6 days later, Night Sorrow arrived at the ice dragon abyss. Night Sorrow knew what extreme cold meant, because almost everything was frozen. Other than the cold currents, the air was frozen and still. Night Sorrow felt that his clothes had hardened and were no longer fitting. He felt that this was not a place for humans to stay. The ice dragon abyss, as the name suggested, was a deep abyss filled with ice water. The ice water churned and white cold air surged. Streams of extreme cold currents were produced and flew out. Night Sorrow saw a strange sight. There were ice dragon skeletons in the cold air above the ice water, and they were all intact. In the middle, there was an ice dragon that was 400 to 500 feet long. Its white scales had a golden luster, but there was no aura of life. Ice dragon skeleton. That was the skeleton of a Heaven Master level ice dragon. Up to 4 new chapters. Yishang didn't even have the slightest thought of taking it away because it was impossible. Yishang stood outside the ice dragon abyss and didn't dare to touch the extreme cold chi. If he dared to approach it, let alone the ice dragon skeleton, even if he approached the ice dragon abyss, he would be frozen to death by the extreme cold chi. Night Sorrow also understood what was going on with his ice dragon skeleton. It was brought out by the extreme cold current. This wasn't the ice dragon's ancestral land. These ice dragon skeletons should have been brought in by the circulating extreme cold current. Night Sorrow had coincidentally brought the ice dragon skeleton out when the extreme cold current was produced. After the extreme cold current was produced, it rushed towards the outside. It had nothing to do with the ice dragon skeleton in the ice dragon abyss. Forbidden area, absolutely forbidden area. There was no possibility of any tricks. Anyone who dared to approach the ice dragon abyss would die without a doubt. One could get it just because one's cultivation was high? If a monarch-level ice dragon dared to come, it was possible that a monarch-level ice dragon would attack before reaching the core area. They would only be killed. They wouldn't even have the qualifications to approach the core area. Even the Heaven Masters didn't dare to barge in recklessly. If there was a living ice dragon fighting near the ice dragon abyss, even the Heaven Masters would be killed. After watching for a while, Night Sorrow left. Going to the ice dragon's ancestral land went smoothly. Night Sorrow even considered returning to the ice dragon abyss to take a look. Then he would choose a direction with the most extreme cold current and wait for the cycle of the extreme cold current to change so that he could collect the treasure. After leaving, Night Sorrow found an ice dragon. This ice dragon's body was huge. It was 200 feet long and had a diameter of 200 to 300 feet. 200 feet was the maximum length a monarch-level ice dragon could grow. If it exceeded this length, it would no longer be a monarch-level ice dragon, but a Heaven Master-level ice dragon. This ice dragon was in a deep slumber. Night Sorrow took a detour and continued forward. Dragons like to sleep. In fact, it was also a form of cultivation. If there was no danger, they wouldn't wake up. Night Sorrow didn't have any killing intent, so he didn't disturb it. Night Sorrow knew that this was a true expert. Cultivating here was to reach the perfect will and become a Heaven Master-level magnate. After passing this monarch-level ice dragon, Night Sorrow continued forward. After traveling for about 200 miles, he found another ice dragon. Terrifying. It was so terrifying. In such a short distance, there were already 2 monarch-level ice dragons sleeping and cultivating. It was obvious how strong the ice dragon race was. Who would dare to force their way in? Even a Heaven Master-level magnate would be unlucky. As he continued forward, Night Sorrow sent out more than 10 monarch-level ice dragons. They were all cultivating near the ice dragon abyss. Night Sorrow wanted to pass through this area and advance towards the ice dragon's ancestral land. Safety in the midst of danger. This was what Night Sorrow realized. Monarch-level ice dragons were extremely dangerous, but they wouldn't wake up easily. Without attracting the ice dragons, Night Sorrow found a safe place and set up an illusion array and a teleportation array before continuing forward. He didn't know how far he was from the ice dragon's ancestral land, but he knew that it was near this area. As long as he continued forward, he would reach it. However, there were many ice dragons nearby. There were no weaklings because those who could cultivate here were all experts of the ice dragons. Ling Ju also brought people close to the core area. He knew that it was time to fight. Whether or not he could reap great rewards depended on whether things went smoothly in the ice dragon's ancestral land. However, he was very unlucky. As soon as he entered the core area, he was discovered by a patrolling ice dragon. Chapter 1248. If they were discovered by the ice dragon, they would have to fight. However, before the fight began, the ice dragon raised its head and roared to inform its companions. If they found intruders in other places, the ice dragon would take care of them themselves. However, this was the core area of the ice dragon clan, and outsiders were not allowed to be presumptuous. This was not its own business but the ice dragon clan's business. Ling Fei, block it. Everyone else, run. Ling Ju gave the order without hesitation. This was the core area of the ice dragons. Fighting with the ice dragon here was suicide. However, the ice dragon did not attack the cannon fodder that Ling Ju had left behind. Instead, it chased after Ling Ju and his companions. Ling Ju cursed in his heart. He was unlucky. After discovering the ice dragon, it was too late for him to escape. The ice dragons had a huge advantage in the core area of the ice dragons. Ling Ju ran as he fired his sword chi. This was a race against the Grim Reaper. If the other ice dragons caught up and surrounded him, he would die. Original. In fact, the other ice dragons arrived very quickly. They only took a few minutes. At this time, Ling Ju did not care about the others. He used a secret technique to escape quickly. He knew that the people he had brought with him would be annihilated. However, he did not run. The ice dragon had caught up. Ling Ju used a secret technique to escape quickly. However, there was still an ice dragon chasing after him. Only a few cannon fodder were left to fight with the ice dragon. In the end, they were killed. At this time, Night Sorrow was also in danger. He was about to go around a sleeping monarch rank ice dragon when the ice dragon started to move. It was going to wake up. Night Sorrow's body flashed and entered the dragon cauldron. If the monarch rank ice dragon discovered him, it would either die or escape successfully. There was no third possibility. After Night Sorrow entered the dragon cauldron, he carefully observed the monarch rank ice dragon to see what was going on. At this time, the monarch rank giant ice dragon took off and flew out. Night Sorrow did not know what was going on. In fact, the ice dragons had a secret communication channel. Now that there was an invasion, the ice dragons moved. This was not making a mountain out of a molehill. This was the core area of the ice dragons, the area where the ice dragon hall was located. The ancestral land of the ice dragons was also in this area, so they could not afford to lose it. The monarch rank ice dragon wasn't the only one that moved. The other monarch rank ice dragons moved as well. They started patrolling the area. Among the ice dragons there was a strict hierarchy. 7-star king level ice dragons could only summon the king level ice dragon summoning code. 7-star king level ice dragons could ask for help from monarch level ice dragons. Only a monarch rank ice dragon could summon an ice dragon. The ice dragon that met Ling Ju just now was a star king level ice dragon, so its warning call woke up all the other dragons except for the ice dragon. They began to patrol the core area of the ice dragon. Night Sorrow was able to hide, but the others were unlucky. Because there were too many people, it was impossible to hide, so the only way was to run. Tang Bo was also running. There really are some unlucky people who cause trouble. Tang Bo cursed as he ran. They had suffered from other people's mistakes before, so they were a little angry. Tang Bo was strong, so he could run and fight the ice dragon at the same time, giving his subordinates enough time to escape. Once they left the core area, they would have a chance to live. Ling Juahuang was running in a random direction when he saw Tang Bo. Cooperate. Ling Ju shouted as he ran towards Tang Bo. Tang Bo's face was filled with anger. Ling Ju was alone with an ice dragon behind him. He was a team. Cooperate? This was clearly a ploy to bring trouble to others, a ploy to trick them. Stay away from us. Damn it, you were discovered by the ice dragon? Stay away from us. Otherwise, I don't care about the ice dragon. I will kill you first. Tang Bo shouted at Ling Ju. Do you think I'm willing to be discovered? You have the right to kill me. Ling Ju's expression changed. Tang Bo really didn't give him any face and directly didn't give him the chance to cause trouble. Arrogant cultivators would do what they said. Ling Ju's counterattack was not at a disadvantage, but he understood that if he really lured the ice dragon to Tang Bo would give up on defending against the ice dragon and attack him first. At that time he would have the ice dragon behind him and another opponent. It would be troublesome. Ling Ju changed his direction and continued to run. From time to time he would attack the ice dragon that was chasing him. Tang Bo and the others also changed their direction of escape. The main reason was that they didn't want to be with the sinister Ling Ju. After running for a distance, he really couldn't shake off the ice dragon. Tang Bo raised his right hand and a fiery red light appeared, enveloping the ice dragon. Quick, follow me. Tang Bo's body flashed and rushed forward. What he had just thrown out was a life-saving treasure, the flaming heavenly sand, which was specially used to restrain the ice dragon. Unless it was a last resort, he really didn't want to use it. After the fiery red flaming heavenly sand left Tang Bo's hand, it turned into a sky full of flames and flew toward the ice dragon. The ice dragon's body circled and waved its sharp claws to release ice energy to suppress the damage caused by the flaming heavenly sand. However, at this time Tang Bo quickly left with the others. After a considerable distance, Tang Bo took out an illusion formation plate and activated it. After that, he took the people behind him to rest. We met a shameless person. He's not from our bound of universe world. Yu Guan said. Judging from his clothes and flying skills, he's from the celestial sect in the world of Samsara. This bastard. Once he's discovered, we won't be able to enter the ice dragon's ancestral land. Tang Bo was very angry. Is he the person that you discovered when we killed the ice dragon? Yu Guan asked. No, I didn't see that person clearly, but his aura is different from this guy. Let's not talk about it now and don't have any delusions. The ice dragon has just woken up from its deep sleep and will not enter it for a period of time. Therefore we have lost our chance. Let's take a rest. Our next target is the mysterious ice river. Tang Bo was not a wishy-washy person. Since there was no hope in the core area of the ice dragons, he planned to change his target directly. In the team, Tang Bo was the absolute authority. Whatever he said was the truth. The others began to meditate to recover. They had been running all the time and had consumed a lot of energy. Night Sorrow watched the monarch-level ice dragon fly away. It was flying towards the periphery of the core area of the ice dragons. He knew that something had happened outside. It was very likely that a team had entered and was discovered. Now was his chance to quickly approach the ice dragon's ancestral land. After leaving the dragon cauldron, Night Sorrow quickly flew towards the ice dragon's ancestral land. During the flight, Night Sorrow used his will to suppress the energy fluctuation. At the same time, he also explored the largest area. He was also worried that he would encounter a monarch-level ice dragon that had woken up. After flying for a while, Night Sorrow felt that this would not work. After all, it was risky because the ice dragon's ancestral land would definitely be guarded by ice dragons that would not leave easily. If he rashly approached, he would be in trouble regardless of whether it was the patrolling ice dragons or the guarding ice dragons. After all, any ice dragon could easily take care of him. Staying in the dragon cauldron, Night Sorrow pondered. Subsequently, he planned to study advanced formation discs and a large number of illusion formation discs. Chapter 1249. Most of the time, low-level array discs were one-off products. The illusion-killing array that Night Sorrow had refined was like this. After it was activated, the array disc would shatter if it couldn't withstand it. Night Sorrow planned to refine a high-level array disc. He decided to put in some effort and research a mobile array disc. At this time, Datura vibrated Night Sorrow's messaging crystal. Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea and talked to Datura about the recent situation and his thoughts on refining an array disc. If you have enough materials, refine an illusion array disc. Before the illusion array disc shatters, use a second one. This way it will be enough to last you until you reach the ancestral land of the ice dragons. However, I think the ancestral land of the ice dragons must be very dangerous. There might even be monarch-level ice dragons guarding it. Datura said. I'll try to increase my proficiency first. If I can refine a high-level one, I can keep using it. Night Sorrow said. This is very difficult. High-level array discs can only be refined by high-level heavenly array masters and high-level heavenly artifact masters. First of all, the materials are hard to find. Not to mention that you have the spatial copper essence, but your cultivation might not be able to support it. Datura said. In the Supreme World there were still some heavenly masters. According to their levels, they were divided into beginner, intermediate, and advanced. A beginner king could become a beginner heavenly master, an intermediate king could become an intermediate heavenly master, and only an advanced king could become an advanced heavenly master. Whether it was the alchemy Dao, artifact Dao, or array Dao, they all followed this rule. Our positive J version, my situation might be a bit special because my soul power is stronger. I forged a high-grade sovereign weapon a long time ago. Now that I'm forging a high-grade array disc, what I'm lacking is proficiency. I should be able to raise my proficiency a bit. Yi Shan was very confident in himself. You're ruthless enough. Even in the top forces they don't nurture heavenly masters like this. Datura said. Alchemists, blacksmiths, and array masters' achievements depended on one's talent first, and then one's proficiency in alchemy and blacksmithing. Night Sorrow had helped others refine pills and blacksmiths, but he had helped himself out. The ice dragon is already on full alert. It would be difficult for me to do anything even if I were to go to the ancestral land of the ice dragon. However, since I'm here, I won't be satisfied if I don't go to the ancestral land of the ice dragon. Night Sorrow said. Datura nodded. She could understand Night Sorrow's current state of mind. Harvest was secondary. If they didn't even reach their destination, it would be equivalent to failure. Admitting failure without any effort was something that no cultivator would be willing to face. To put it bluntly, it was cowardice. After chatting with Datura for a while and breaking the concentric crystal, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea and began to study the array disc. Night Sorrow wanted to break through to the advanced heavenly array master, which required a process that was not that easy. It was very difficult to break through to the advanced heavenly master level because the advanced king level materials were rare. Not to mention an individual, even if a force wanted to nurture an advanced heavenly master, it was extremely difficult. Night Sorrow relied on refining pills and blacksmithing for others to raise his support skills. He had also been deducing the array disc. The refinement of a high-level array disc required one's cultivation in array Dao and blacksmithing to catch up. This was also the reason why array discs were so precious. Night Sorrow now had the materials, array Dao and blacksmithing cultivation, which was why he had the confidence to study high-level array discs. After calming down, Night Sorrow took out the materials and went through the illusion array in his mind. Then he began to refine it. He used the spatial brass, which could refine an intermediate heavenly array disc. That was why he used the spatial brass to refine an intermediate heavenly array disc. It was a success. It was an intermediate illusion array disc. Night Sorrow had successfully refined it because the array disc was relatively simple. Night Sorrow then engraved the killing lock array onto the spatial brass. Then he inserted a Saint Spirit stone and refined it. After that, Night Sorrow studied the refinement of the array disc every day. Because he was worried about the materials, after every refinement, Night Sorrow would summarize the gains and losses. Then, after careful consideration, he would refine it again. After a month, Night Sorrow had used up all the spatial brass in his hands. After obtaining many array discs, Night Sorrow also gained some valuable experience. Next, Night Sorrow wanted to refine an advanced array disc. He wanted to engrave the Sealing Sky illusionary killing array that he had researched himself. It was an advanced heavenly master array disc. An advanced array disc had to correspond with an array of the same level. It was extremely difficult. Even the slightest mistake in the engraving of the array disc could not be made. After failing again and again, Night Sorrow summed up his experience while feeling heartache for the materials. In the third month, Night Sorrow refined the Sealing Sky illusionary killing array disc. At this time, he had consumed 1/3 of the spatial brass that he had obtained in the extreme cold current. Yishang activated the disc array and exited the dragon cauldron. Holding the disc array, Yishang felt the surrounding scenery change. He walked around with the disc array in hand. As he walked, the scenery Yishang saw constantly changed. He knew that if someone looked over from the outside, they would only see a vast expanse of ice and snow. They could not see him. Success. The advanced array disc was successfully refined. Night Sorrow saw another life-saving trump card. Happy. Night Sorrow was truly happy. Night Sorrow then returned to the dragon cauldron and continued studying the array disc. Since he had refined an advanced array disc, he would study a few more backups. Night Sorrow refined some array discs for the Sealing Sky illusionary killing array and the Sealing Sky illusionary killing array. Array discs were different from actual large arrays. The power was similar, but the area they covered was much smaller. The large array that Night Sorrow had set up in the past could cover a military camp with a radius of tens of miles or even hundreds of miles. However, the area that the array disc could cover was relatively smaller. With a few advanced array discs in hand, Night Sorrow felt more at ease. He felt that he could go out and play. There was definitely no problem in terms of safety. First, he would use the illusionary killing array to hide. If an ice dragon discovered him, Night Sorrow could use the Sealing Sky illusionary killing array to trap the opponent. Then he would use the Sealing Sky illusionary killing array to protect himself. After activating the teleportation array disc, he could quickly leave. Night Sorrow was very satisfied with the current effect. He supported the array disc of the Sealing Sky illusionary killing array and flew forward. Anyway, with the illusionary killing array hiding him, even if there were ice dragons, it would not be so easy to discover him. At this time, many ice dragons had returned to their positions and were cultivating. Even with the Sealing Sky illusionary killing array hiding him, Night Sorrow was still very careful. A monarch rank ice dragon was not that simple. If he was alerted, it would be very easy for him to discover him. Since he had already reached this level, Night Sorrow did not want to fail because of his carelessness. Every day, Yishang was getting closer and closer to the ancestral land of the ice dragons. He was thinking about the situation in the ancestral land of the ice dragons, what he could do and what risks there would be. After experiencing too many things, Night Sorrow's mind was much more mature than his peers. Night Sorrow had thought of ways to solve some of the things that could happen. 10th update. Thank you for your support, brothers. 3 days and 31 updates are in place. I will keep my promise. Here, I wish you a happy 4th birthday. Regarding the update situation, 4 updates will start tomorrow and erupt at irregular times. By the end of this month, more than 100 chapters have been updated. Shizi promised that once his condition was good, he would erupt on time. He had to be worthy of his brothers and sisters. Chapter 1250. Night Sorrow numbered every teleportation crystal that he had set up. When needed, he could directly use the teleportation array disk to teleport. If he wanted to leave the Ice Dragon realm, Night Sorrow could set up a high-level teleportation array and connect it to the teleportation array at the entrance of the Ice Dragon realm. However, Night Sorrow still had plans to go back. He still planned to continue guarding the extreme cold current. This kind of opportunity to collect top-grade materials was very rare. If he missed it, there would not be such an opportunity. A distance of 1,000,000 miles was nothing to King. If it was in the past, Night Sorrow would be worried about everything, and his speed would be slow. Now that he had a mobile illusion array to protect him and he had a way out, he was confident and courageous, and his speed increased a little. 5 days later, Night Sorrow found the ancestral land of the Ice Dragons. There were no signs on the map, but Night Sorrow could tell from the habitat of the Ice Dragons. The ancestral land of the Ice Dragons was the holy land of the Ice Dragon race, and it was also a forbidden area. It was a place that the Ice Dragon race defended with all their might, and there were many Ice Dragons guarding this place. Night Sorrow was a 4-star king, and he could see the depths of the Ice Dragons with 7-star king cultivation. Some of the Ice Dragons that he could not see the cultivation level of were the Star King and Monarch rank Ice Dragons. Night Sorrow could not help but admire the tyranny of the Ice Dragon race. With such strength, it was unrealistic for any force to attack. One had to know that the Ice Dragon race had a unique advantage in the Ice Dragon realm. Not to mention fighting beyond their level, they would definitely crush those of the same level. Of course, outside the Ice Dragon realm, the combat strength of the Ice Dragons would decrease. If such strength was not limited by the trials of wind and fire, it would be extremely terrifying. Perhaps the trials of wind and fire only existed because the heavenly Tao was fair. Night Sorrow arrived at the location. The ancestral land of the Ice Dragons was a canyon with piercingly cold ice wind. On both sides of the canyon's entrance, there were 2 gigantic ice dragons coiled around the ice pillars. Their bodies were 2,000 feet long, and they were monarch rank ice dragons. There were also ice dragons coiling around the mountains on both sides of the canyon. These ice dragons were all in a sleeping state. Night Sorrow knew that this was the case when nothing happened. If something happened, these ice dragons would wake up to fight. In fact, these ice dragons were not in a deep sleep. Thinking about it, Night Sorrow did not know how to enter this canyon. It was not realistic to enter with the current method. The canyon entrance was not very wide, and if he moved with the disc array there would be energy fluctuations. He would definitely be discovered by the Ice Dragon. Night Sorrow did not want to use such a risky method. Translator, Lon_editor. Ephidacia. Looking at both sides of the canyon, Night Sorrow decided not to go to the mouth of the canyon. There was cold wind at the mouth of the canyon, so it would be easier to go through the mountain wall. With some thoughts in mind, Night Sorrow began to take action. He took the disc array and flew to the side of the canyon. Then he entered the Dragon Cauldron. He planned to control the shrunken Dragon Cauldron to fly past the Ice Dragon's guard and enter the ancestral land of the Ice Dragons. The crucial moment was about to arrive. Yishang drank a jar of wine and relaxed. Then he controlled the Dragon Cauldron to approach the walls of the canyon. He felt that his chances were quite high. The Ice Dragon was in a deep sleep. Moreover, the Dragon Cauldron's flight didn't carry much energy in the snow. As the Dragon Cauldron slowly approached, Night Sorrow was a little excited. As long as he passed the blockade it would be fine. Night Sorrow was worried that he would not be able to enter. As for leaving, that was easy. He had a teleportation array disc, and even if he was discovered, he could throw out a few heaven-sealing illusionary killing array discs and heaven-sealing trap killing array discs. Night Sorrow controlled the Dragon Cauldron to pass through the alert area guarded by the Ice Dragons and rolled down the slope of the canyon into the canyon. Night Sorrow's heart skipped a beat as he controlled the Dragon Cauldron to roll down. He had passed another stage and was getting closer and closer to his goal. Regardless of whether he could succeed or not, at least hope was in front of him. The canyon was filled with astral winds, but at this time, Night Sorrow was some distance away from the top of the canyon and the mouth of the canyon. It was difficult to control the Dragon Cauldron, so Night Sorrow took out the disc array and continued to fly. Just now, in the Dragon Cauldron, Night Sorrow had already changed the Holy Spirit Stone in the disc array. He could use it all the time. When he passed through the canyon, Night Sorrow was stunned. At the mouth of the canyon was a huge basin. The sky in the basin was white, and ice dragon skeletons were coiled inside. Night Sorrow looked down and saw at least thousands of ice dragon skeletons in the basin. In the middle of the basin, there were 3 ice dragons with golden scales. They were all coiled on huge black ice stone bases. Waves of pressure rushed in all directions. Night Sorrow could only withstand it by using the power of his soul. Ice Dragon Skeletons. Those were the skeletons of the 3 Sky Master level Ice Dragon. However, Night Sorrow did not dare to touch them because there was a great formation in the basin. Some of the Ice Dragon skeletons had energy flowing between them, suppressing everything in the basin. After checking, Night Sorrow knew what kind of formation it was. It was the Dragon Formation, also known as the Thousand Dragon Formation. It was recorded in the Qing Emperor's letter. However, it was only a brief description because even the world of Samsara did not have such a formation. The Dragon Formation in the canyon was centered around the Ice Dragon skeletons. Once the formation attacked, even the Sky Master level giants would not be able to get away with it. One had to know that in the eyes of practitioners, an Ice Dragon was already amazing. It could set up a great formation. This was the Thousand Dragon Formation, and it used the skeletons of the Ice Dragon as the core. Night Sorrow knew he had to resort to trickery. If he dared to activate the Dragon Formation, he would die without a complete corpse. He had to find a way to break it. However, Night Sorrow was not in a hurry. He had stabilized his footing here. No matter how strong the formation was, it was still a dead object. It was not as scary as a living Ice Dragon. After studying for a while, Night Sorrow felt there was still a chance. The Dragon Formation needed the skeletons of 1,000 Ice Dragons. Now there were thousands of Ice Dragon skeletons in the basin. The extra skeletons had disrupted the formation a little. Night Sorrow planned to use the extra skeletons to solve this problem. As long as the disturbance was stronger, the lethality of the Dragon Formation would continue to decrease. Night Sorrow first studied the array. When he discovered that he could move the Ice Dragon skeletons, he took out his Ice Dragon skin tendon net and threw it out to hook the Ice Dragon skeletons. Then he began to move. He wanted to use the Ice Dragon skeletons to obstruct the operation of the array. Night Sorrow did not like to make a big noise, so he was very careful when he moved the skeletons. Because he didn't want to cause too much of a ruckus, Night Sorrow's movements were relatively slow. 5 days later, Night Sorrow had moved 30 Ice Dragon skeletons that had nothing to do with the Myriad Dragon Formation to obstruct and interfere with the operation of the formation. After 5 days, Yishang could clearly feel the pressure of the Myriad Dragon array decrease. Yishang knew that if he continued to move slowly, he would be able to enter in a short period of time. Chapter 1251. It was very difficult because the slightest carelessness would trigger the Myriad Dragon Formation. Then all his previous efforts would be wasted and everything he had done would be for naught. Because there was enough time, Night Sorrow was not in a hurry. This was the holy land and forbidden area of the Ice Dragon realm. Ice dragons would not easily enter. As long as he made it stable, it would be fine. Night Sorrow only dared to move the Ice Dragon skeleton a little, let alone collect it. The Myriad Dragon Formation had the ability to suppress, kill, and defend. Night Sorrow was afraid of causing energy fluctuations and triggering the Myriad Dragon Formation. It was impossible to directly collect it. Besides, Night Sorrow's target was not an ordinary Ice Dragon skeleton. It was the skeleton of an Ice Dragon. Although he was very excited, Night Sorrow was still very steady. He had walked 100 steps, but he was only halfway through the 99 steps. He would not waste all his previous efforts because of a single mistake. Time passed little by little. Night Sorrow moved the skeleton of the Ice Dragon and tried his best to interfere with the operation of the Myriad Dragon Formation. This was a big project. He did not ask for much, just a gap that could allow him to pass through. As long as he could get close to the skeleton of the Ice Dragon, that would be enough. After a month, Night Sorrow had only slightly changed the Myriad Dragon Formation. However, it was still not enough to enter. As soon as he finished this work, the concentric crystal in his sleeve vibrated. Night Sorrow took it out and connected it. Night Sorrow, how are you doing now? Datura asked worriedly. Very good. Don't worry, Night Sorrow said. At present, almost all the forces have returned. The Ice Dragons have discovered the invaders and have rioted. All the teams that went to the hinterland of the Ice Dragon realm have been expelled. They have all suffered heavy losses. The Qing Emperor's guards and the blood-robed guards have all returned. If you can't do it, come back too. We don't lack these resources. Datura said. She was a little worried. The Ice Dragons were alert and would wake up from their slumber. Therefore, there was no chance of entering the ancestral land of the Ice Dragons. Bad. How can it not be bad? The treasure is not far from me. I have to try no matter what, Night Sorrow said. What treasure? Datura asked. Ever since Night Sorrow had arrived at the core of the Ice Dragon realm, Datura had not taken the initiative to contact Night Sorrow. He was mainly worried about affecting Night Sorrow, so he did not know about Night Sorrow's situation. The skeleton of the Ice Dragon King. Yishang said with a smile. You've arrived at the ancestral land of the Ice Dragon? Datura's eyes were filled with surprise. It's been a month, but we can't get our hands on the Ice Dragon's bones, Night Sorrow said. After that, Night Sorrow exited the dragon cauldron. He spun the heart crystal for Datura to take a look. Then he returned to the dragon cauldron. So many Ice Dragon skeletons? How did you get in? Datura was shocked. Countless years had passed, and only the black-yellow Great World had succeeded once. Now Night Sorrow had touched the ancestral land of the Ice Dragons. This was very rare. Night Sorrow then explained the current situation. Dragon array. You have to take it slow. If you can't do it, set up a teleportation array. Come back, I'll fight with you. Datura's eyes were filled with determination. She really wanted to help Night Sorrow. No, Aluo. I know you are very strong, but you don't know how many monarch rank Ice Dragons are out there. There is no hope in using force. As long as there is a situation here, those Ice Dragons will immediately surround and kill. I think there are still Ice Dragons alive, so it's useless for you to come. As long as you appear, there will be a big battle. Night Sorrow shook his head. Datura was worried about him, but he was also worried about Datura. He didn't want others to be implicated because of him. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Datura didn't say anything. This was the truth. Even if she entered the spatial treasure, the Ice Dragons would react the moment she appeared. It could even be said that the strongest expert of the Ice Dragon realm could arrive in an instant. Okay, take it slow. Datura nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow was infinitely close to success. Now he just needed to be patient. After breaking the heart crystal, Night Sorrow continued to exert force on the dragon array. He wanted to change the array and create a passage. With Night Sorrow's current array Dao cultivation, if he didn't have to worry about breaking the dragon array, he might need time, but it definitely wouldn't be as strenuous as now. Now that there were dragons outside, Night Sorrow had to be careful. He didn't dare to move too much. While thinking and analyzing, Night Sorrow continued to use the flying claws to move the unrelated ice dragons. The flying claws he was using now were newly refined. It was a flying claw that could be grasped tightly with a pull. It was connected to the ice dragon's tendon on the ice dragon's skin net. It was very convenient to move the ice dragons. Original, every time Night Sorrow moved, he had thought it through carefully. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, in the Qing Emperor's palace, in the Azure Sky Pavilion, the Qing Emperor was asking the Qing Emperor's guard about the situation this time. The Qing Emperor's guard reported all the details in detail. You're saying that you haven't seen Night Sorrow since entering? The Qing Emperor asked with a frown. Yes. After entering the Ice Dragon realm, we separated from His Highness. We haven't seen him since, the temporary captain of the Qing Emperor's guard said. The Qing Emperor nodded. Fill up the team and continue to wait for Night Sorrow at the entrance of the Ice Dragon realm. If any force ambushes him, kill without mercy. The Qing Emperor's guard left, but the Qing Emperor was still thinking. Your Majesty, the Ice Dragons are now on guard. It's difficult to do anything in the Ice Dragon realm or even in the Ice Dragon realm. His Highness Night Sorrow should be back by now, Xian Daozi said. That's normal, but when it comes to Night Sorrow we can't use common sense. Maybe that guy is lying in some corner waiting for an opportunity. He's stubborn and resilient. If there's an opportunity he won't let it go easily, the Qing Emperor said. His only weakness is that his cultivation is a bit low. If His Highness Night Sorrow has the corresponding cultivation, some problems won't be a problem for him, Xian Daozi said. The Qing Emperor nodded. This was Night Sorrow's biggest weakness. It wasn't Night Sorrow's problem. It was that he hadn't been cultivating for long. Night Sorrow studied the dragon matrix every day. He moved bit by bit to make room for himself near the ice dragon's bones. As long as he could get near the ice dragon's bones, Night Sorrow would take the ice dragon's bones and run without hesitation. The ice dragon's bones were his main goal this time. As for the mystic ice unicorn king's bones, that was a completely unexpected gain. Night Sorrow was now like an ant moving a mountain. Every day he would change the dragon's warm formation a little, moving it according to his own ideas and expectations. The process was very slow, but Night Sorrow didn't lack time. He did it slowly every day. In the 4th month since Night Sorrow entered the ancestral land of the ice dragons, a corner of the dragon matrix was completely changed by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow opened a passage. Looking at the relatively stable dragon matrix, Night Sorrow felt that he could enter. Night Sorrow didn't dare to touch the ice dragon's bones guarding the dragon matrix, but there were two that had nothing to do with the dragon matrix. Chapter 1252. A Genius Will Remember Love in 1 Second? I'll bring you a wonderful novel to read. Night Sorrow flashed into the 8-dragon cauldron and flew toward the center of the dragon swarm array through the passage he opened. After months of moving mountains, this was the last step. Night Sorrow was a little excited, but he was also very careful. After all, if something went wrong, all his previous efforts would be wasted. However, his early efforts were still very effective. Night Sorrow entered the dragon swarm array smoothly and approached the ice dragon skeleton on the left. This ice dragon skeleton had a stronger golden glow. Night Sorrow couldn't see its cultivation level. He could only rely on his senses, the length of its body and the glow. Normal ice dragons were silver-white, but the ice dragon skeleton had a golden glow. The stronger the glow, the better. After exiting the 8-dragon cauldron, Night Sorrow began to set up the array. He couldn't be disturbed when he was collecting the ice dragon skeleton. He had to protect himself. Also, he had to escape after collecting the ice dragon skeleton. All of these required the array's interference. Night Sorrow set up his strongest array, the Sky Sealing Illusion Killing Array, and it was a large-scale one. Near the ice dragon skeleton, without the interference of the dragon swarm array, he had no problem setting up the array. In order to ensure the array's strength, Night Sorrow spent a lot of money. He set it up for 3 days and used 20,000 Saint Spirit Stones. In front of the Ice Dragon King skeleton, Saint Spirit Stones were nothing. If he could get the Ice Dragon King skeleton, he would have made a fortune. Not to mention 20,000 Saint Spirit Stones, even 1 million or 10 million Saint Spirit Stones wouldn't be enough to exchange for the Ice Dragon King skeleton. Saint Spirit Stones could be earned and accumulated slowly, but the Ice Dragon King skeleton was a heaven-defying treasure. After setting up the array, Night Sorrow didn't immediately activate it. If he did, there would be energy waves and the Ice Dragon skeleton would come earlier, which would be a waste of precious time. Looking up at the sky, Night Sorrow gritted his teeth. His soul power burst out and wrapped around the Ice Dragon skeleton, pulling it into the 8-dragon cauldron. The Ice Dragon skeleton began to tremble. It slowly moved away from the profound ice stone base it occupied. Night Sorrow knew that it was difficult to collect the Ice Dragon's bones. It should be said that in the ancestral land of the Ice Dragon, all the Ice Dragon's bones were not easy to collect, because the profound ice stone base was a suppressing array formation. The suppressing array formation under the Ice Dragon skeleton was even more powerful. Now, Night Sorrow wanted to pull the Ice Dragon skeleton down from the profound ice stone base and then put it into the 8-dragon cauldron. The trembling of the Ice Dragon skeleton caused the suppressing formation to break, causing intense tremors. Even the ground began to crack. P6 Night Sorrow didn't care about that. He just wanted to collect the Ice Dragon skeleton. Rumbling sounds continued to ring out as the cracks on the ground grew larger and larger. At this time, the guarding ice dragons noticed the commotion and rushed over. However, Night Sorrow discovered another problem. All the ice dragons couldn't enter the Myriad Dragon Great Formation. The Myriad Dragon Great Formation didn't only affect outsiders, it also restricted the ice dragons themselves. Only when the ice dragon's lifespan was nearing its end would the Ice Dragon Great Formation be imparted through a soul imprint. At this time, hundreds of ice dragons were roaring outside the Great Formation. There was nothing they could do if an outsider entered the ancestral land of the ice dragons to cause trouble. The Myriad Dragon Great Formation was a double-edged sword. It stopped intruders and also stopped the ice dragons from entering. At this time, Night Sorrow roared and put the Ice Dragon skeleton into the 8-dragon cauldron. At this time, Night Sorrow saw that there was still enough time. His body flashed and he went to the other Ice Dragon skeleton to collect it. Since the Myriad Dragon Great Formation could stop the ice dragons, he continued to collect it. He pulled the second Ice Dragon skeleton down the profound ice platform. At this time, the concentric crystal was vibrating, but Night Sorrow didn't have time to care. What time was it? Racing against time. A little bit of time could change the harvest and fate. After Night Sorrow collected the ice dragon's corpse, a 400-meter-long ice dragon appeared in the sky. It was shrouded in a golden halo. Ice Dragon. The strongest member of the Ice Dragon race and the patriarch of the Ice Dragon race. At this time, the Ice Dragon passed through the Myriad Dragon Great Formation and flew towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow waved his arm and threw out the Holy Spirit Stone. He activated the Heaven Sealing Slaughter Lock Formation and was about to escape. However, he discovered that there was a withered wooden staff under the second ice dragon's skeleton. It emitted a mysterious aura. Collect. Good things couldn't be missed. Knight Sorrow waved his left hand and put the staff into the dragon cauldron. Then he took out the teleportation array disc with his right hand and was about to escape. Break. 10,000ly ice seal. The ice dragon's huge claw slammed down and shattered the heaven-sealing illusion kill formation. Then it opened its mouth and ice energy appeared, freezing the surroundings. Knight Sorrow, who was about to teleport, stiffened. Everything came to a standstill. The ice dragon was overbearing. After coming out, it settled everything in 2 moves. Knight Sorrow knew that he couldn't escape. The ice dragon was too strong. All his arrangements and plans were useless. Knight Sorrow communicated with the 9 regions origin bead and poured a large portion of his soul power into it. The origin bead wrapped around the 8 dragon cauldron in Knight Sorrow's body. Then, it floated out of Knight Sorrow's body. Before the ice dragon could react, a purple halo erupted and melted the ice energy and the spatial barrier. It entered the spatial turbulence and disappeared. The ice dragon grabbed at the spatial turbulence with one of its front claws, but it grabbed nothing. With a roar, the ice dragon's body shook and turned into a middle-aged man wearing a white robe with golden patterns. Then he grabbed at the void with his left arm and grabbed Knight Sorrow in front of him. What did you do? Lord Ice Dragon, first of all, I apologize. Although it's true that I sought an opportunity, I did disturb the Ice Dragon clan. Now that I've fallen into your hands, I have nothing to say. You can do whatever you want with me, said Knight Sorrow. Survival of the fittest. It's not wrong for you to work hard for an opportunity. This king is guarding the ancestral land of the ice dragons. It's not wrong for him to capture and kill you. Your body is not an innate soul but a doppelganger. But you should know that if the doppelganger dies, your trip to the ice dragon realm will be for nothing. But what did you do just now? The ice dragon looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. That's right. I used some secret method to send away all the important things I obtained from the ice dragon realm. You can say that it's just a doppelganger that you want to kill me. Knight Sorrow knew that his doppelganger was going to die in the ice dragon realm. After all, he had taken 2 ice dragon skeletons. Do you think this is what you have to face this king so calmly? You're wrong. You're sealed in ice and the energy in your body is confined. You don't even have the right to self-destruct. If this king uses a secret method to seal your soul in ice, your original body will die as well. So, you'd better hand over the things, said the ice dragon as he sized up Knight Sorrow. Chapter 1253. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? I'll bring you a wonderful novel to read. Then have you heard of the dragon language curse? That's a forbidden secret technique. This king doesn't want to go too far. It won't benefit either of us. This king only wants to solve the problem. Killing you is not his goal. The ice dragon thought for a moment and said, This time, after going through so much trouble, I'm not satisfied with nothing. I'm very sorry for being disrespectful to my lord and the ice dragons. Also, I won't blaspheme the ancestors of the ice dragons. I won't destroy their bones. My goal is to set up a formation to protect them. Their bones will become the guardian deities. Knight Sorrow didn't want to give up just like that. For the stability of the 9 domains world, he didn't care about losing a clone. Your spirit sea is surrounded by golden light. You clearly have a body of merit. Why are you doing this? The ice dragon asked in confusion. He knew that he could only talk now because Knight Sorrow wasn't afraid. This time I'm really guilty. But for the stability of the 9 domains world and my hometown, I'm willing to pay the price. Even if my body of merit is destroyed, I won't hesitate. The stability and prosperity of a world is the result of the efforts of generations. I'm willing to pave the way with my body so that the future generations can walk more smoothly. Knight Sorrow said, This is a body of merit. You're willing to sacrifice yourself for others. Let's talk. I hope we can solve this peacefully. You can take away both ice dragon bones. This king definitely won't allow it because the bones of his lord father are among them. This king will definitely not allow anyone to take them away. No matter the price, this king will get them back even if he has to fight to the end of the world. The ice dragon loosened his grip on Knight Sorrow. No matter if it's a human or a demon beast, they all have the responsibility of a son. A son can't watch his father be disturbed in his eternal sleep. My lord, which one do you want? I'll send it back. Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and nodded. He really couldn't bring himself to snatch his father's corpse in front of his son. Good. This king will not make things difficult for you if you take out the Revelation Scepter. This king's father's corpse is the one on the left of the 3 ice dragon skeletons. The ice dragon stated his request. What heavenly mandate scepter? Night Sorrow was stunned. It's the staff that you collected in the end. It's the sacred relic of us ice dragons, said the ice dragon. Good. Are you sure? Yishan asked. This king, as the leader of the ice dragons, is naturally a man of his word. In fact, you were able to come to the ancestral land of the ice dragons with the cultivation of a 4-star king and find the heavenly mandate scepter that the ice dragons had lost for countless years. Isn't this karma destined by the underworld? The ice dragon nodded. Night Sorrow then used his soul power to summon the origins of the 9 regions, which were not too far away. The origins of the 9 regions returned to their original positions. Night Sorrow placed the skeleton of the ice dragon's father in its original position. Then, he bowed to it and handed the withered wooden staff to the ice dragon. The other skeleton of the ice dragon was once a traitor of us ice dragons. This king's father forgave him and allowed him to return to the ancestral land of the ice dragons. So, after you take it, you can use it as the core of the formation. But please don't blaspheme it and don't use it as a material. The ice dragon took the revelation scepter and bowed to his father's skeleton. I won't. I can promise you this, Lord Ice Dragon, said Night Sorrow. F***CK. Okay, you can go back. This king thinks that you are the luckiest among all the people who came to the Ice Dragon realm this time, said the Ice Dragon. Lord, can I go to the Ice Dragon Abyss for a while? Don't worry, I will definitely not do anything that will harm the Ice Dragons, said Night Sorrow. The Ice Dragon Abyss is a holy land for the Ice Dragon clan, but it is indeed a dangerous place for you. However, this king will not stop you if you want to go. Take this. It has this king's aura on it. No ice dragons will attack you for 5 years. After 5 years, this ice jade will disappear. Take care of yourself, said the ice dragon. Thank you, Lord. I will restore this place to its original state. Then, Night Sorrow began to move the skeletons of the ice dragons that he had moved. He was afraid that there would be movement when he moved them, but it was much easier to move them back. While Night Sorrow was working, the ice dragon and the other ice dragons did not leave. In one day, Night Sorrow had completely restored the skeletons of the ice dragons. After saluting the ice dragon, Night Sorrow left the ancestral land of the ice dragons. He headed toward the ice dragon abyss. The ice dragon turned around to look at the ancestral land of the ice dragons and exited the great dragon matrix. Father, why did you let him go? Asked an ice dragon who had transformed into a young man. Because of the heavenly mandate scepter. The heavenly mandate scepter is related to resolving the trials of wind and fire. It has been lost for countless years. We can find it now because of him. Therefore we ice dragons owe him. This time some of our ice dragons died, but there is no mark on his body. It was not done by him, said the ice dragon. The ice dragons once again fell into silence. The ice dragons cultivated and did what they needed to do. However, they were more vigilant. The safety of the ancestral land of the ice dragons was very important. In the past, the ice dragons thought that it was absolutely safe, but Night Sorrow had really snuck in. If the ice dragon had not arrived in time, the 2 ice dragon skeletons would have been taken away by Night Sorrow. This kind of thing could not happen again. Night Sorrow returned to the place where he had come from near the ice dragon abyss. It was also the place with the most extreme cold currents and stayed there. He still planned to wait for the current cycle of the extreme cold currents to pass. Then he would take the opportunity to continue waiting. With 5 years to collect materials, Yishan felt that he wouldn't lack materials for refining in the future. As for whether he would leave after 5 years, that was up to him. If the ice dragon didn't attack during these 5 years, he could still continue to collect materials even if he avoided the ice dragon for a while. Night Sorrow stayed in the 8-dragon cauldron and carefully observed the ice dragon king's bones that were coiled together like a small mountain. The edges of every scale of the ice dragon king, which was at the level of an overlord, had a golden halo. This was because the space inside the 8-dragon cauldron was big enough. Otherwise, there would not be enough space for the skeletons of the ice dragon and the dark ice tiger king. Moreover, there were still 2 skeletons. Although one of them was damaged, its size was still there. Night Sorrow felt that it was going very smoothly. Although he had returned one of the ice dragon skeletons, Night Sorrow did not regret it. Not to mention other things, if the ice dragon wanted to return his father's skeletons as his son, there was no reason for him not to return it. It had nothing to do with strength or luck. While Night Sorrow was comfortably drinking, Datura vibrated the concentric crystal again. Night Sorrow took it out and connected it. Looking at Dachura's pair of beautiful eyes, Night Sorrow smiled and said, "Don't scold me yet. Look at what this is." Night Sorrow turned the concentric crystal and showed Dachura the ice dragon skeletons that were placed side by side with the dark ice tiger king skeletons. "Ah, you really got it? Then why didn't you take the concentric crystal and did this instead?" Dachura's face was full of surprise. Arriving at the ice dragon's ancestral land was one thing, and being able to obtain the skeletons of the ice dragon was another. It was not convenient at that time. This time my efforts were not in vain. Fortunately, that ice dragon's temperament was good. Otherwise it would have killed me with a slap. Night Sorrow said with a smile. It would be a lie to say that he was not afraid. No one was willing to die. "You also met a living ice dragon?" Dachura asked. Chapter 1254. Then Night Sorrow explained the reason why he returned the ice dragon's skeleton, as well as the ice dragon's promise that it would not attack him for 5 years. He specifically mentioned that scepter to you. It should be because that scepter is very important to the ice dragon. Everything has a cause and effect. No one can deny this. This way you will be the safest in the core area of the ice dragon realm. Other than the ice dragon there are no other monsters, Dachura said with a smile. It's like this. I plan to stay near the ice dragon abyss where there are the most extreme cold currents. I plan to cultivate a Ray Dao while collecting materials, Night Sorrow said. Okay, as long as you are safe. Dachura nodded. She was really not worried now. With the ice jade with the aura of the ice dragon, no ice dragon would attack Night Sorrow. Then that's it. Help me look after Seven Night City and the city in the sky. If you have time, bring the child to the heaven-sealing Great Hall, Night Sorrow said to Dachura. Dachura nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow's trip to the ice dragon realm was already over. He had done what he needed to do. The next step was to maximize the benefits. Night Sorrow made a beast skin tent and stayed near the ice dragon abyss, waiting for the cycle of extreme cold currents. At the same time he continued to study Array Dao. The art of Array Dao was to borrow the power of the heavenly way. It was a manifestation of the power of the heavenly way. Studying Array Dao also had a great impact on one's battle strength. 3 months later, the normal extreme cold currents appeared again. Night Sorrow took the ice dragon tendon net and continued to work. Even if it was a little hard, he did not feel tired when there was a harvest. In the great hall of the South Sky Dynasty, Shang Tianfeng sat on the main seat. Emperor, we have subdued all the forces around Seven Night City. Yuan Qinba cupped his hands and said to Shang Tianfeng. The army under my command is also ready to attack Seven Night City at any time. Gong Yonglai also bowed and said. Currently, the Black Heaven Monarch is in seclusion. He won't participate in the internal strife. Right now, only the Big Dipper King might interfere. The other one is Yen Tianpa. We can ignore Yen Tianpa for now, but as for the Big Dipper King, this monarch will make a trip to the elemental spirit world to ask for help. At the very least, we have to restrict him. After we raise Seven Night City to the ground, he won't be able to change anything even if he jumps around a few times, said Shang Tianfeng. The rise of Seven Night City and Night Sorrow made Shang Tianfeng feel threatened. He felt that he had to destroy Night Sorrow's foundation and enter the 9-domain world through the teleportation formation. Shang Tianfeng already knew about the transfer array in Seven Night City. Now he wanted to destroy Night Sorrow's foundation and take over the 9-domain world. Occupying a low-level world and then guarding the inter-realm teleportation array would make the Tiannan dynasty the safest place. Shang Tianfeng's level was too low, so there were many things that he couldn't come into contact with. No one would tell him about the people that Night Sorrow could come into contact with, but he couldn't. Shang Tianfeng didn't know about Night Sorrow's situation in the world of reincarnation. If he did, he wouldn't have dared to touch Seven Night City. It was Night Sorrow's relationship with the Big Dipper King, the Shentian dynasty, and some other people that made Shang Tianfeng feel threatened. It was the rapid development of Seven Night City that made Shang Tianfeng unable to sit still. Some people knew about the movements of the Tiannan dynasty. Chen Yu went to Seven Night City and told Tai Shu Yen, who was in charge of Seven Night City. Thank you, Prince Chen Yu. We will make some preparations. Tai Shu Yen gestured to Chen Yu. Chen Yu was a half-step king and a prince of the Shentian dynasty, so Tai Shu Yen attached great importance to etiquette. I'm friends with Night Sorrow. His business is my business. Later, I'll talk to my father and mobilize people to Seven Night City, Chen Yu said. I'll talk to Night Sorrow about this before making a decision, Tai Shu Yen said. She could deal with the development of Seven Night City, but when it came to war she had to ask Night Sorrow. That's fine. You can send a message to the Shantian dynasty at any time. As long as Seven Night City needs help, there's no problem. When Night Sorrow returns, tell him to find me for a drink. Qian Yu left after speaking. He knew Night Sorrow's current situation. He didn't need to appear at all, but as a friend he had to come. Northstar also received the news. She directly teleported to the city in the sky. Xiaolanjun didn't stop her. When she arrived at the city in the sky, she found Wu Lingfei and asked her for her opinion. The core of the 9 regions world is Night Sorrow, and the core of Seven Night City is also Night Sorrow. I'll go to the Sky Ceiling Hall later to talk to him, Wu Lingfei said. She wanted to fight, but she didn't have the strength. She was now a peak Saint King and had begun to comprehend her will, but she still wasn't a king. There's no need to talk to Night Sorrow about this. I'll take care of it, Datura, who had been wearing a veil and listening to their conversation, said. Aluo, you'll take care of it? Wu Lingfei asked. Yes, but it'll be a little troublesome. Datura nodded. Yes, this is a confrontation between 2 forces. It'll involve a lot of things, Bei Xing said. Night Sorrow insisted on taking care of the Tianan dynasty personally. If he hadn't insisted, we would have just destroyed it, Wu Lingfei said. She was referring to the fact that she could not kill him directly. She had to use other methods to do so. Bei Xing was stunned. She didn't know who Datura was, so she felt that his words were a little too arrogant. After all, the Tianan dynasty also had 3 kings and a very powerful old emperor. When the old emperor and the Yi clan were still alive, they were even stronger than the Big Dipper city. Now, many people didn't want to provoke the Tianan dynasty because of the old emperor. Then what does Aluo plan to do? Wu Lingfei asked. Night Sorrow doesn't have time to deal with this at the moment. Let's slow down the situation for now. I'll send someone to break the legs of their kings and let them recover for 3 to 5 years. The situation will stabilize until Night Sorrow returns, Datura said. Aluo, your idea is a little too bad, but it's also the most direct and effective method, Yu Qing said with a smile. And he also thinks it's appropriate. Let's do it that way, Datura nodded. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Xing, stay for dinner. Don't worry about this. It'll be fine, Yu Qing said to Bei Xing. Bei Xing was a little stunned. She didn't understand why Yu Qing and the others were so calm. However, since Yu Qing and Wu Lingfei both trusted Datura, she couldn't say anything else. After dinner in Sky City and returning to Big Dipper City, Bei Xing went directly to the Big Dipper Villa where her father lived. Xing is here, Big Dipper King, who was talking to Greedy Wolf King, said to his daughter. I went to Night Sorrow's house and told them about the Tianan dynasty, but they didn't care. A woman said she would deal with it. She was too casual about it. Bei Xing was still a little worried. You're worried because you don't understand. King gestured for Bei Xing to sit down. Chapter 1255. Xing, which power do you think is the scariest in the Tianshan world? Big Dipper King asked his daughter to sit down. The Shantian dynasty, of course. It's under the command of the monarch of Shantian, said Bei Xing. No. A few mystic sky majestic empires wouldn't be as powerful as a single seven-night city. Of course, only a limited number of people know about this. The Moon Demon Realm Lord is dead and has completely fallen. The Tsangyun sovereign doesn't dare to appear. What? Because he offended Night Sorrow. Not to mention the Tianshan world, even in the continent of the 9 clouds, no one can touch Chia City. It's just that some people don't know about it. I know some secrets because I have a good relationship with the monarch of Shantian. Big Dipper King looked at his daughter. Master, is Night Sorrow's influence so big now? Big Dipper King was also very shocked. In the last battle of the continent of the 9 clouds, Night Sorrow killed the monarch of Tsangyun and severely injured the monarch of the Moon Demon sector. Shang Tianfeng was also there at that time, but he didn't think too much about it. In his heart, Night Sorrow was just a nobody, but in fact, Night Sorrow's guards were all monarchs. It was Night Sorrow who led the last battle. Shang Tianfeng is now obsessed. He thinks he can touch Chia City just because he has some connections with the monarch of the Yuanling world. He's finished, Big Dipper King said. Those people didn't come to protect the 9 regions world? Big Dipper King asked in surprise. Many people think so. They are Night Sorrow's subordinates. The news came from Monarch Xin Shao. Monarch Xin Shao has friends in the world of reincarnation, so he knows some things. He told Monarch Shen some things and Monarch Shen mentioned it to me. Night Sorrow is now the fourth majesty of the Qing Emperor's dynasty in the world of reincarnation, and he is the most important one. He controls 7 armies and the generals of each army are monarchs. His 30 guards are all kings and the captain is a monarch, Big Dipper King said. That means Shang Tianfeng really doesn't have a chance to make a comeback. Monarch Greedy Wolf's eyes were filled with shock. During the last Realm War, Night Sorrow only brought his personal guards with him, not his army. The Demon Moon Sovereign is dead. After that Realm War he ran back to the Demon Moon Realm but he was still killed. According to reliable sources, it was a woman in a black silk dress who killed him. At that time she said that to offend Night Sorrow was to be blind, Big Dipper King said. In fact, he had not thought that Night Sorrow would develop so quickly. I just saw a woman in a black dress in the city in the sky. She said she would send someone to the South Sky Dynasty to break all of King's legs and severely injure him. Then she would delay the situation until Night Sorrow returns, North Star said. That's right. 7 Night City is not afraid of any provocation. Big Dipper King sighed. Father, aren't the princes the sons and daughters of the Emperor? North Star asked. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, the disciples of the Qing Emperor are equivalent to his children. Currently, the status of the Qing Emperor's disciples is far higher than his children. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's wait and see. Big Dipper King did not want to talk about this topic because it involved too much personal matters. This guy is doing so well. Why didn't he say anything? North Star was somewhat dissatisfied. He is not a flamboyant person. This is his character. Big Dipper King admired Night Sorrow's character very much. Even if he had the strength he was still very low-key. 2 days later, a rather shocking thing happened in the profound sky world. The South Sky Dynasty was destroyed by a single person. Monarch Shang Tianfeng was severely injured, and so were his subordinates Yuan Shenba and Gong Yonglai. Most people did not know who did it, but there were still people who knew the inside story. The people in the city in the sky knew, and so did the people in the Big Dipper City. At this time, North Star understood that Dachura was a ruthless person and really did not take this matter seriously. Shang Tianfeng also knew the reason because the expert who attacked him was not from the profound sky world. An outsider attacking him made him understand that this was related to Night Sorrow. After that, the South Sky Dynasty moved on a large scale because they could no longer survive in the profound sky world. Shang Tianfeng did not come into contact with the higher levels, but he was not stupid. Originally, Shang Tianfeng was still worried that someone would stop him, but the move went very smoothly. In fact, no one cared if he moved or not. Dachura did not care either. No matter where Shang Tianfeng went, she could catch him and deal with him. If Monarch Origin Spirit dared to protect Shang Tianfeng, then she would not be polite and would kill him together. Monarch Origin Spirit took Shang Tianfeng, but he did not know the situation. If he knew that it involved so much, Monarch Origin Spirit would not have dared to accept him. Dachura told Wu Lingfei and the others that after Night Sorrow was going to fight, they would go to the profound sky world and kill whoever dared to stop them. Night Sorrow stayed in the beast skin tent, feeling the natural charm of the world of ice and snow, enjoying the impact of this environment. Every day he studied Array Dao and at the same time, waited for the cycle of the extreme cold current. After 2 months, the extreme cold current changed and became a normal extreme cold current, which also carried ores and resources. Night Sorrow became busy, the ice dragon skin tendon net in his hands constantly attacking. Occasionally, ice would come over and stare at Night Sorrow angrily, mainly because it saw the huge net in Night Sorrow's hands. Night Sorrow explained and apologized helplessly, saying that he saw a broken ice dragon skeleton and did not destroy it on purpose. No matter what, he had trampled on the ice dragon's dignity. With regards to Night Sorrow's explanation, the ice dragon's attitude changed, but it was not very friendly. Let's go. A year passed like this, and Night Sorrow's cultivation improved again. This time he entered the 2-star king realm. When Night Sorrow's original body was comprehending will, he also took resources to cultivate so that his energy cultivation could keep up with his realm. In the Ice Dragon Hall, Ice Dragon, who had transformed into a human, was studying the heavenly mandate scepter in his hand. A young man stood beside him. Father, that guy is still in that area. Every day he studies array discs, cultivates battle techniques, and then fishes for materials in the extreme cold current. The hateful thing is that he used the ice dragon skin tendon net made from the bodies of our clansmen, the young man said. How dare he? Ice Dragon was a little angry. He explained and apologized. It's a broken skeleton of our clansman. I studied the huge net and it's true. The dragon's skin is lacking in energy, and it's not the skeleton of an ice dragon that died in a short time, the young man said. If it's a broken skeleton that died in the past, then forget it. It's survival of the fittest. In this world no one is right or wrong. His attainments in array formation are very deep. This king will find him another day and see what he thinks about the heavenly mandate scepter, Ice Dragon said, looking at the scepter in his hand. He's too young. How can he understand? The young man shook his head. It has nothing to do with age. Our ancestors studied the heavenly mandate scepter for a long time, but there was no result, Ice Dragon said. Chapter 1256. The young man nodded and did not speak. This was the truth. The heavenly mandate scepter had been lost for an era, but the ancestors of the ice dragons had been studying it, but they did not understand it. In the history of the ice dragons there was a fortune teller. He divined that if the ice dragons wanted to avoid the tribulation of wind and fire, they had to look at the heavenly mandate scepter. The heavenly mandate scepter could solve this problem. But in fact, countless years had passed. The heavenly mandate scepter was still there, but so was the tribulation of wind and fire. In the previous era, an outstanding member of the ice dragons appeared. He felt that the heavenly mandate scepter was a magic treasure, a protective magic treasure, but no ice dragons could understand it. He stole the heavenly mandate scepter and left the land of the ice dragons. The heavenly mandate scepter disappeared. When the tribulation of wind and fire arrived, this outstanding member who was already an ice dragon returned. His life force was taken away by the tribulation of wind and fire, just like the other ice dragons. Seeing that he had reached the end of his life, the clan leader, who was the father of the current ice dragon, forgave him and allowed him to enter the land of the ice dragons. When the ice dragons clan leader thought of the heavenly mandate scepter and went to the ancestral land of the ice dragons to find him, this member of the ice dragons had already fallen. Then the clan leader of the ice dragons also fell. The current ice dragon was very young back then. He was a 7th level saint level ice dragon, but he knew about these things. On Night Sorrow, when he was grabbing the best materials in the cold current, the ice dragon came. Night Sorrow, who had collected the materials, looked at the ice dragon tendon net in his hand and was a little embarrassed. He cupped his hands to the ice dragons and said, "I told the other ice dragons that I did not harm them when I came out of the ancestral land of the ice dragons. This is an ice dragon with a damaged body that I found in the past. Let's not talk about this anymore. You didn't do anything wrong, but as ice dragons, we definitely feel uncomfortable seeing our clansmen end up like this," the ice dragon said. Night Sorrow invited Ice Dragon into the tent and handed Ice Dragon a jar of wine. The ice dragons live in the ice dragon realm and hardly communicate with the outside world. It has been like this for many years. This time you came and communicated with us for the first time in countless years. It's not easy for us ice dragons. After an era, the trials of wind and fire will come. It's coming soon. The ice dragon opened the wine jar and took a sip. Hair, can't it be resolved? Night Sorrow asked. He naturally knew how much damage the ice dragons could cause to the wind and fire tribulations. No, you saw the bones in the ice dragon ancestral land. So many ancestors died in the wind-fire tribulation. Ice Dragon shook his head. Nothing is absolute. Don't give up. Night Sorrow sighed from the bottom of his heart. This king came to you to ask for your help. It's about the trials of wind and fire. Help this king take a look at the heavenly mandate scepter and tell me what you think. The ice dragon handed the heavenly mandate scepter to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow is young and inexperienced. Is this appropriate? Night Sorrow was a little stunned. He didn't expect the ice dragon to ask for his help. There's nothing inappropriate. Countless ancestors of the ice dragons have been studying the heavenly mandate scepter, but to no avail. Perhaps you have a different opinion. The ice dragon nodded. Night Sorrow took the heavenly mandate scepter and began to look at it. The heavenly mandate scepter was like a piece of dead wood, but it was extremely heavy in his hand. After carefully examining it for a while, Night Sorrow discovered that the dense patterns on the heavenly mandate scepter looked like a matrix. Or rather, it was a matrix. My lord, this seems to be a large matrix and it's of a very high level. It's not something that can be understood in a short period of time, Night Sorrow said. Because of the inheritance, ice dragons are not good at matrices. In this king's memory, there is only one dragon matrix. Generations of ice dragons tried to refine the heavenly mandate scepter, but they all thought that the patterns were a map or a technique. In the end they got nothing. This king represents the ice dragons. Please help us once and see if we can figure out anything. The ice dragon cupped his hands at Night Sorrow, his eyes filled with pleading and respect. My lord, you're too polite. I still have time, so I'll help you take a look. Night Sorrow did not refuse. His matrices cultivation had just entered the high-level Heavenly Master level, and he was probably just getting close. This was because he had only studied 2 matrices. His understanding of matrices was not enough, and he still needed to study them at a deeper level. The ice dragon did not leave and stayed in the tent. However, under the influence of his energy, the natural climate of this area became better. Night Sorrow also had things to do. With the extreme cold current, he continued to collect treasures. Without the extreme cold current, he studied the Heavenly Mandate Scepter. The days passed like this. Night Sorrow occasionally chatted with Datura. Knowing about Night Sorrow's current situation, Datura was even more relieved. She was also sincerely impressed that Night Sorrow and the Ice Dragon could coexist peacefully in the same tent. The patterns of the Heavenly Mandate Scepter were vast and profound. Night Sorrow worked hard every day to study them and then engraved them on paper. 3 years had passed, and Night Sorrow had engraved hundreds of matrices with dense patterns. His understanding of the Heavenly Mandate Scepter had also deepened. The Ice Dragon could only wait. Countless years had passed, and the Ice Dragons could not do anything about the Heavenly Mandate Scepter. Now Night Sorrow had some results. At the very least, he had researched something. After copying all the patterns of the Heavenly Mandate Scepter, Night Sorrow studied them one by one. Although the Ice Dragon did not understand, he was also very interested in watching from the side. It just so happened that the extreme cold current was swirling. Night Sorrow sat down and studied slowly. Don't be in a hurry. Take your time. The Ice Dragon could tell that Night Sorrow was really diligent in his research and did not waste any time. I'm not in a hurry, but my lord is. I've been here for 7 years. If I can finish my research as soon as possible and help the Ice Dragons once, I won't feel guilty coming to the Ice Dragon realm this time, Night Sorrow said. After taking the skeleton of the Ice Dragon, Night Sorrow really felt that he owed the Ice Dragons. The Ice Dragon smiled. You're being honest? The trials of wind and fire have troubled the Ice Dragons for countless years. Generations of ancestors have fallen. This king is still a little anxious, but you don't have to be too stressed. I have a feeling now that the sealing and sealing effect of this matrix is very strong. If it's set up, it can seal and seal almost everything. However, I feel like it's a cultivation method. If it's really a cultivation method, then it's a very powerful sealing and sealing secret technique. It also has a great sealing effect on one's own energy. If the energy does not leak out, then it will have a great advantage in battle, Night Sorrow said. Wait, say that again. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the Ice Dragon said somewhat anxiously. It's a matrix with a very powerful sealing and sealing effect, Night Sorrow said. No, that's not it, the Ice Dragon King said. It could also be a cultivation method with a very powerful sealing and sealing secret technique. It can control one's own energy and not leak out, Night Sorrow said as he sorted out the matrix. Chapter 1257. That's it. That's it. If we can make it so that no energy leaks, does that mean that we can lock our own vitality and prevent it from being taken away by the trials of wind and fire? Ice Dragon asked excitedly. Humans and monsters, no matter how strong they were, would lose some of their own energy. If they had good control, they would lose less energy in battle and their battle power would last longer. Just like sweat and blood, they would lose their own energy. Yes, that's what it means. But whether it can be done, I'm not sure. Night Sorrow understood that the direction of the Heavenly Mandate Scepter's research might be right. I hope. You've given us hope. Ice Dragon was a little excited. Then continue to work hard and see what's going on. What we've researched so far is just the surface. Night Sorrow shook his head. Let's go. Don't stay here any longer. Let's go to the Ice Dragon Palace. This king's sons will enjoy it. Let them send all the good wine and beauties to the Ice Dragon Palace. Ice Dragon said to Night Sorrow. I'm not going. I have to continue collecting the treasures in the extreme cold current. I'll study the diagram when I have the time. Night Sorrow shook his head. Dragons love to collect. In this king's opinion, even dragons aren't as greedy as you. There are plenty of treasures in the extreme cold current in the Ice Dragon Palace. You can take whatever you want. Let's go. Without waiting for Night Sorrow to speak, Ice Dragon's energy wrapped around Night Sorrow and brought him to the main hall of the Ice Dragon Palace. That's Standing in the Ice Dragon Palace, Night Sorrow felt like an ant. The throne in the main hall was so big, and the seats on both sides were mysterious ice platforms. They were also incomparably huge. To me, this is no different from being outside. Night Sorrow said with a bitter smile. Don't worry. Wait a moment. Ice Dragon waved his arm, and a light wave was released from the main hall. A moment later, more than 10 huge ice dragons flew over. Transform. Transform for this king. Ice Dragon waved his sleeves and roared. Following that, the dozen or so ice dragons transformed into human forms. There were both men and women. Sita, give this king some space in your courtyard. This king wants to live in it. Ice Dragon said to one of the men. The man bowed and accepted the order. He didn't understand what was going on. Shiyu, arrange for 2 of your maids to be sent to Shitai's courtyard. Ice Dragon instructed another woman. And you guys send all the good wine to the side courtyard. Do it immediately. Ice Dragon waved his hand to chase them away. Is that appropriate? Night Sorrow asked with a bitter smile. It's suitable. If they can figure out something, it will save their lives. Why can't the Ice Dragon stay in the Ice Dragon realm for countless years? Without the suppression of the Ice Dragon realm's extreme cold, the king-level Ice Dragons will be punished by the heavens when they leave the Ice Dragon realm. It's the wind tribulation and the fire tribulation. The outside world is nothing to others, but to us Ice Dragons, it's an extravagant hope to even take a look. Ice Dragon's words were filled with emotion. Don't worry. If I don't figure it out, I'll just stay here until the time limit is reached. There are still more than 20 years. I'm not a fool. I'll definitely get results. Night Sorrow also made a promise. The tragedy of the Ice Dragons also made Night Sorrow feel a little emotional. In addition, it also improved his cultivation in the Array Dao. After chatting for a while, Ice Dragon brought Night Sorrow to a side courtyard. The scenery in the side courtyard was not bad, and the size of the structure was also similar to that of a human's residence. This king has a piece of 10,000 years warm jade here. You'll be able to get used to it. Ice Dragon took out a large piece of white jade from his sleeve and placed it in the middle of the courtyard. Read novels free of ZFV. Night Sorrow felt much warmer. He took out the Heavenly Mandate Scepter and continued to study it. Not long after, someone came with good wine and 2 maidservants. They were both dragon girls. In the following days, Night Sorrow studied the Heavenly Mandate Scepter every day. Its complexity was comparable to the 9 Serenities slaughtering god formation. Ice Dragon's children also came often. They now knew what Night Sorrow was doing. He was helping the Ice Dragons. After a few months of research, Night Sorrow could confirm that the patterns on the Heavenly Mandate Scepter were a combination of a formation and a cultivation technique. Lord Dragon King, I can confirm that it's a formation and a cultivation technique. However, I don't know if it's right or wrong. If you want to know, you can only deduce it during cultivation, Night Sorrow said. This king is here. This king will be the test subject. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't care about this king. It doesn't matter if it's wrong. You said that you can do anything for your hometown. This king can do anything for his people, Ice Dragon said. Let's do it together. I can feel the flaws in my own cultivation. If it's wrong, it'll be bad luck. Haha, but if it's successful, it'll be equivalent to me cultivating the ultimate technique of you dragons, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Let's cut the pleasantries. Let's continue our research, Ice Dragon said. This formation and cultivation technique came from the Heavenly Mandate Scepter. It's fine to call it the Heavenly Mandate Scripture, but it can also be called the Leakless Scripture. Next, let's cultivate it together. We'll experiment with the left arm first. If it's successful, we'll continue. If it's a failure, we'll break it. We'll continue with the broken limb. Night Sorrow was very persistent in cultivating. Ah, this king likes your boldness. Let's do it. Ice Dragon was influenced by Night Sorrow's words and vigor. He felt that Night Sorrow's indomitable spirit really needed to be learned. Formations were also cultivation techniques. Night Sorrow first created a large number of meteoric iron needles, then drew a formation diagram and showed it to Ice Dragon. The points on this diagram are the energy points. Later, we'll insert the meteoric iron needles into the arm and mark it with the meteoric iron needles. Then we'll gather the energy at the energy points and take root. Then, the energy will flow according to the route of this cultivation technique, which is the route of the formation. Okay, I'll listen to you. Ice Dragon had no objections at all. Night Sorrow and Ice Dragon began to cultivate the Leakless Scripture according to the formation diagram and the route of the cultivation technique. Their bodies merged with the formation and changed the strength of their bodies. It was painful, very painful. Yishang had cultivated the myriad Dao's treasured book and had experienced all kinds of pain, so he could endure it. The Ice Dragon King was in so much pain that he grimaced. He had never experienced this kind of pain before. The Ice Dragon race was born with a strong body. After another round of cultivation, Ice Dragon wiped his forehead. Brat, doesn't it hurt? It hurts. It'll be fine once you get used to it. I've already condensed half of the formation points here. We'll know the results in a few days, Night Sorrow said as he looked at his left arm. You've already condensed half, but this king is not even halfway. You're more than 100 years old. It's not a coincidence or luck that you have such achievements. Ice Dragon looked at Night Sorrow and understood something. Then the man and dragon continued to cultivate. 2 months later, Night Sorrow finished condensing all the energy points of the Heavenly Mandate formation in his left arm. Lord Dragon King, the next step is to prove whether or not it's a success. Night Sorrow reached out and pulled out the meteoric iron needles on his left arm. Chapter 1258. Ice Dragon had not finished cultivating yet, but he was looking forward to the results of Night Sorrow's cultivation. He was even a little excited because if he succeeded, he would have a chance to resist the trials of wind and fire. The power of Desolates erupted from Yishang's body and circulated to every part of his body. At this moment the effect appeared. Every part of Yishang's body had a surging energy aura, but only his left arm did not move. However, Yishang knew very well that the energy in his body was uniform. Come, Lord Dragon King, feel my left arm. Night Sorrow nodded at Ice Dragon. Ice Dragon went forward and placed 2 fingers on Night Sorrow's left arm. He was overjoyed because he could feel the surging energy in Night Sorrow's left arm, but it did not leak out at all. Taking 2 steps back, Ice Dragon bowed to Night Sorrow. My lord, what are you doing? Night Sorrow went forward and helped Ice Dragon up. Because yes, your research is correct. As long as you can lock the life force in your body and prevent it from being sucked out, even if only a part of it is left, we Ice Dragons will not be helpless against the trials of wind and fire. Therefore you are the benefactor of Ice Dragons. Receiving a bow from this king is nothing, Ice Dragon said. It's good that it's useful. When the whole body is cultivated, I think the effect of locking the energy in my body will be even stronger. As I cultivate, the fire will deepen and the power will also increase. Night Sorrow was also very excited because this was also his achievement. Ah, don't be anxious, really don't be anxious. Let the trials of wind and fire come. Let's see if my Ice Dragons can withstand it. Come, Night Sorrow, let's not go home until we are drunk today. Ice Dragon was very happy. 1 man and 1 dragon began to drink in the courtyard. The dragon's wine jug was also very big. In fact, it was just a jug. Night Sorrow had drunk too much and the dragon's wine was too strong. When Night Sorrow woke up, there were many ice dragons in the courtyard. The Ice Dragon's son, Sita, and daughter, Shiyu, were both there. Night Sorrow, thank you. Sita and Shiyu bowed to Night Sorrow. They already knew the situation from their father. Top, call me uncle from now on. Night Sorrow is this king's friend, a friend who has gone through thick and thin together. Ice Dragon said as he shook off the wine on his robe. He had drunk too much and his clothes were in a mess. My lord, that won't do. Night Sorrow is still young. How can I let the crown prince and princess address me like that? Night Sorrow hurriedly waved his hands. His head was still a little dizzy. Then you can call this king uncle. This matter is settled. Ice Dragon made the decision. He was really happy. When he was king, he had solved the Ice Dragon's big problem. Father, if we cultivate it successfully, we can at least withstand the wind trial and the fire trial, right? Then we can leave the Ice Dragon realm, Shiyu asked excitedly. Of course. However, this heavenly mandate scripture is really difficult to cultivate. Perhaps it is because the body is too big. Night Sorrow's arm is effective. This king is still far from it. However, the path is right. We can slowly cultivate it in the future, Ice Dragon said. Since it is right, then I will organize it properly and completely organize the cultivation method. However, this will take a lot of time, Night Sorrow said. Just cultivate the right arm, legs, and body according to the method of cultivating the left arm, Shitai said. That's not the case. It's not like that. I've been studying a corner of the heavenly mandate matrix during this period of time. It's about cultivating the left arm. Cultivating the left arm is cultivating the left arm. It's different from the right arm and the other parts of the body. This is equivalent to setting up a large matrix in the body. If there's a little conflict or illogic, it will completely collapse and not achieve a flawless effect, Yishan explained. Things were not as simple as Shitai thought. This is how the Matrix is. It is a meticulous job. It is not that easy to pull one part and affect the whole body. Ice Dragon nodded. Sorry, I thought too simply. I didn't know that you had to put in so much effort. Shitai bowed to Night Sorrow. After that, Night Sorrow continued to study and organize the Heavenly Mandate Matrix. However, it was really difficult. Night Sorrow's right arm had been destroyed twice. Fortunately, King could regenerate it. If the energy points were not right, the right arm would have to be cut off. The energy points of the Matrix had imprints. It could not be continuously lost as it would affect the following cultivation. However, ice dragons did not lack treasures that could replenish their body's energy. Restoring the body was not difficult for Night Sorrow. 3 months later, Night Sorrow's right arm was also completed. Ice Dragon was still cultivating his left arm. His body was a several hundred zhang long ice dragon. Naturally, it was very difficult for him to cultivate it. Every time he would grimace in pain. Next was the heart, which was the setting up of the matrix and cultivation of the internal organs. Night Sorrow worked hard every day to deduce. He first set up the matrix in the courtyard. When the matrix was effective and flawless, Night Sorrow then went to cultivate. The days passed as Night Sorrow continued to deduce. The Qin Emperor's dynasty quieted down, but Night Sorrow's name had been imprinted in some people's hearts. He was the first commander of the empire. Seven Night City was also very quiet. No one dared to provoke Seven Night City. The influence of the Ice Dragon realm was also relatively reduced. However, there were still some people who formed new teams and moved around the periphery to collect some resources. Night Sorrow's doppelganger and Ice Dragon studied and cultivated the Heavenly Mandate True Scripture together. His original body worked hard to improve his realm and cultivation. In the 12th year after Night Sorrow entered the Ice Dragon realm, his comprehension of the will of time entered the stage of 30% and he became a 3-star king of time. In the 16th year, Night Sorrow's will of space also entered the stage of 30% and he became a 3-star king of space. In the same year, Night Sorrow successfully merged the will of time and space, becoming the will of time and space. Ice Dragon saw every change in Night Sorrow. He also understood what a genius was and what a monster was. In addition, he knew that the time and space attributes were not Night Sorrow's main attributes. This was because Night Sorrow showed that he was a 4-star king. However, Ice Dragon did not check and did not know what attributes he had. It would be disrespectful to check. Night Sorrow's original body took the resources to cultivate. His cultivation and realm were synchronized. Night Sorrow's doppelganger's abilities continued to improve. In the 10th year after entering the Ice Dragon realm, Night Sorrow cultivated the Heavenly Mandate True Scripture, which was the leakless True Scripture. He only did not cultivate his left leg in his manhood. This day Night Sorrow was a little depressed. Today was Yi Qingyan's 20th birthday. In the past few years, Night Sorrow and his family often met in the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall. However, he did not accompany his child for a walk or guide her in her cultivation. This was because his doppelganger in the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall was also deducing the matrix. Brother Yi, what's wrong? Xiu, who was making tea on the side, asked. Today is my daughter's 20th birthday. I've been in the Ice Dragon realm for 10 years. Night Sorrow's heart was filled with longing. This is something to be happy about. How about this? As her aunt, although I've seen her before, I still have to give her a gift. This is a detoxification pearl. If you carry it with you, you'll be immune to all poisons. Xiu took out a light blue pearl and handed it to Yi Shang. After taking the pearl, Night Sorrow continued to look at Xiu. Don't you know that I have a son and a daughter? In another month, my son's birthday will also be here. Chapter 1259. Alright. I'll give it to you. This is soul steel. You're an armorer. Make your own soul armor. Xiu shook her head helplessly. They had spent a lot of time together over the years and treated each other as equals. Their relationship was also very deep. Ah, not bad. Thank you, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Night Sorrow, don't be too stressed. In fact, the Heavenly Mandate Scripture can already solve the problem at this point. At worst, your left leg will be taken away by the trials of wind and fire. If you can survive, you can just regrow your broken limb, Ice Dragon said. Yes, Brother Yi, you've worked hard over the years. Shitai also entered the side yard. Night Sorrow shook his head. Shitai and the others were amateurs, so they didn't know the details. The heavenly mandate scripture is also the leakless scripture. If you don't cultivate it completely, then there are leaks. It doesn't match the true meaning, so the effect will be much worse. The remaining difficulty will be very high. Isn't it just missing the left leg now? How can it be difficult? Shiyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked, puzzled. Ice Dragon and Shitai also looked at Night Sorrow. They felt that the heavenly mandate scripture was not far from perfection. All these years, Uncle Lai has cultivated it. Brother Shitai has also cultivated it. Why can't I let you cultivate it? Because you're a woman. Heaven and earth are divided into yin and yang. We men cultivate the yang formation. If you cultivate it, you won't be able to cultivate part of it. That's why it's incomplete. So, after the yang formation is completed, I will continue to study the yin formation, Night Sorrow explained. Ice Dragon's name was Shi Lai, and Night Sorrow called him Uncle Lai. I see. Brother Yi, you've worked hard. Shiyu bowed to Night Sorrow. Shiyu, you don't have to worry. If the time is up and I haven't finished my research, this avatar of mine will leave. But I will arrange for someone around me to cultivate a soul avatar that can send messages over and tell you the results of my research at any time, Night Sorrow said. Shiyu nodded vigorously. Ah, does your heart still ache when you give my son and daughter treasures? Yishan asked with a smile. What are you talking about? When have I, Shiyu, ever felt heartache? Shiyu rolled her eyes at Night Sorrow. You really shouldn't feel bad about this. If Brother Yi didn't study the heavenly mandate scepter all these years and just stayed near the extreme cold current, who knows how many treasures he would have collected. But don't worry, Brother Yi. When Brother Yi leaves, Sita will give you a big gift, Sita said. Actually, my study of the heavenly mandate scepter and the scripture of heavenly mandate has been of great help to the ice dragons, but it has also improved my own strength a lot. When the day comes that I have great achievements and the trials of wind and fire come, I will have an leakless body. There is nothing I can't do. I have nothing to fear, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Good courage. Ice Dragon clapped his hands. He admired Night Sorrow's confidence. There was nothing he couldn't do. Brother Yi, there is naturally nothing I can't do. In those years, the Ice Dragons chased after the Star King's team all over the Ice Dragon realm. Brother Yi, the 4-star king, entered the ancestral land of the Ice Dragons alone. This proves that as long as Brother Yi wants to, he can definitely do it. Sita was originally somewhat dissatisfied with Night Sorrow because of the Ice Dragon tendon net. After understanding the situation and getting along with him for more than 10 years, she now admired Night Sorrow very much. In the 21st year since Night Sorrow entered the Ice Dragon realm, Night Sorrow finished organizing the Yang chapter of the Scripture of Heavenly Mandate. He also completed his cultivation and achieved the leakless real body. The Ice Dragons held a grand celebration. All the members of the Ice Dragons transformed into their human forms and held a banquet to celebrate. They also expressed their gratitude to Night Sorrow. The Ice Dragons' dragon ladies were also very enthusiastic about Night Sorrow. They knew that Night Sorrow was going to study the Yin chapter of the Scripture of Heavenly Mandate for their sake. Many dragon ladies were also very interested in Night Sorrow. However, Night Sorrow did not have any thoughts about it. This was also something that Ice Dragon was puzzled about. He arranged for maids to serve Night Sorrow. However, Night Sorrow did everything by himself. He almost did not look at them directly, even if they were the best of the dragon's beauties. Night Sorrow, don't you plan to marry one? There are many people at the banquet who are interested in you, Ice Dragon said with a smile. I have a good wife at home. I feel sorry for them when I'm away from home all year round, so I don't have any thoughts about it. Night Sorrow was not the kind of person who discriminated against races, but he had a strong sense of family. In the 24th year since he entered the Ice Dragon realm, Night Sorrow finished studying the Yin chapter of the Scripture of Heavenly Mandate. The matrix he set up was also working perfectly. Shiyu, there's no problem with the matrix. The technique and the matrix master complement each other. If there's no problem with the matrix, there's no problem with the technique. All that's left is to cultivate, Yi Shang said as he pointed at the heavenly mandate matrix that was operating outside the courtyard. I understand. I will cultivate well. Shiyu nodded. She was not very interested. The completion of the Yin chapter of the heavenly mandate matrix meant that Night Sorrow was going to leave. Don't be unhappy. The moon waxes and wanes and people have their joys and sorrows. Perhaps I am just a passerby in the Ice Dragon realm, but I will remember the 24 years in the Ice Dragon realm. Time will not erase it, Night Sorrow said. You are the only cultivator other than the Ice Dragons that I have come into contact with. But I can feel the beauty of the boundless world that you told me about. One day I will go there, Shiyu said. Shitai also nodded. The ice dragons were trapped in the ice dragon realm because of their predestined fate. If there was a real body that did not leak, then it would not be a problem to get out. We are king, immortal and indestructible. Naturally there will be a day when we meet again. If we can't meet, then it will be me who was killed. Remember to kill me back for me, Night Sorrow said with a smile. No, I think it will be you who killed people. Shiyu smiled. She felt better after hearing Night Sorrow's words. After staying for 2 more days, Night Sorrow had to leave. Uncle Lai, thank you for taking care of me for more than 20 years. Thank you for your tolerance back then. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Shi Lai. Night Sorrow, be careful when you go out. Although I have never been to the boundless world, I know how wonderful and dangerous it is. Stay alive. Wait for us to meet again, Shi Lai said to Night Sorrow. I will. Shitai Shiyu, I am currently living in the Qing Emperor's dynasty in the world of reincarnation. My nest is the 9 firmament world of the 9 firmament world group, Night Sorrow said. Okay, just wait for us. Shitai nodded. Men, present the gifts. The Ice Dragon King shouted towards the outside of the courtyard. Uncle Lai, don't. I'm very greedy. I came to the Ice Dragon realm because of my desire for cultivation resources. If you give me everything, Uncle Lai, then I'll lack the motivation to move forward. I'm a real man, so I'll earn whatever I need. Yishan refused. Night Sorrow still hoped that he could get what he fought for and what others gave him. Uncle, you are too stubborn. Then I won't send you anything. With too many resources, you will lose your fighting spirit. Ice Dragon nodded. Night Sorrow, if you don't like to accept gifts, then all my preparations will be in vain. However, this set of dragon scale armor is what I shed after I became a monarch. After countless years of natural baptism, it became a natural dragon scale armor. You have to keep it. It is not for you but for my niece whom I have never met. Shiyu took out a set of soft armor. Chapter 1260. Don't be so pretentious. If I don't accept Uncle Lai's, shouldn't I accept yours? Night Sorrow directly put away the neatly folded soft armor in Shiyu's hand. Father, look at this guy. Isn't he a little too shameless? Shiyu said with a smile. She was just joking. She understood that Night Sorrow accepted her armor as a personal gift. It was different in nature from ice dragons. The Ice Dragon King only smiled. Although he was a little sad about the separation, he was still very gratified in his heart. Currently it was a beautiful outcome. Don't look at me. This is the Ice Dragon's reverse scale. It can be used to make a hard armor. You know how powerful it is. Shitai curled his lips and took out a piece. It was only the size of a palm, but it was surrounded by golden scales. Although it looked small, Night Sorrow knew that it was a condensed treasure. Uncle Lai, Shitai Shiyu, let's not talk too much. I look forward to our meeting in the future. Night Sorrow took out the teleportation formation disc and nodded to Ice Dragon and the others. Then he activated the teleportation formation and left. After teleporting once, Night Sorrow set up a high-level teleportation formation. He didn't destroy it and then teleported to the teleportation formation at the entrance of the Ice Dragon world. Looking at the teleportation formation beside him, Night Sorrow thought for a while. He just removed the teleportation crystal and the teleportation crystal. He felt that this teleportation formation might be useful one day. When flying to the space barrier, Night Sorrow was still very careful. He was worried that someone would be waiting for him. However, the Ice Dragon world had been open for 20 years. Things had become very quiet. No one was waiting for him or robbing him. Night Sorrow flew out of the Ice Dragon world and teleported back to the Nine Heavens realm. Then he teleported twice to Chia City. The people guarding the teleportation formation in Chia City were shocked when they saw Night Sorrow because Night Sorrow hadn't appeared for a long time. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded to Xiaolanjun and the others. Then he returned to Sky City. As soon as he stepped out of the teleportation formation, there was a shout. Father! Father, you're back? A female voice sounded. Then Night Sorrow's arm was grabbed. Qingyan, why are you acting so crazy? Where are you going? Night Sorrow asked Yi Qingyan, who was only slightly shorter than him. I'm going to the profound sky world to train. But since Lord Father is back, I naturally won't be going. Yi Qingyan said with a smile. She was already 26 years old and was already a mature lady. Alright, let's go home. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. 20 years had passed and his children had grown up. He still had some feelings in his heart. In the mansion, Night Sorrow saw his parents, wife and a handsome young man. Father. When the young man saw Night Sorrow enter the hall, he stood up and bowed to greet him. He was Yi Yujun. In his heart, his father was not only a loving father but also an indomitable hero. Night Sorrow nodded and greeted his parents before sitting down. You've become more mature. Yi Wuyo nodded to Night Sorrow. You've changed a lot. Datura, who was also in the hall, nodded with a smile. She knew how much Night Sorrow had gained in the past 20 years. Although it didn't seem like much on the surface, Night Sorrow had a deep foundation and a leakless real body. If he had great achievements in the future and faced the trials of wind and fire, Night Sorrow would have the capital to contend against them. Equals only, original/others. All of them plus pirated copy. Then came the family banquet. Night Sorrow accompanied his family for dinner. Then he told everyone that he would make a move against the Tiannan Kingdom in the Yuan spirit world later. Night Sorrow, do we want the Tiannan Kingdom's territory cities? These years, many forces have been waiting for our seven-night city. If we don't make a move, they won't accept it either. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. No, it's meaningless. We just need to develop the 9 regions world and 7-night city. Night Sorrow shook his head. Although Tiannan Kingdom had some cities, Night Sorrow felt that there was no need to manage them. 7-night cities development was stronger than a few Tiannan kingdoms. Night Sorrow stayed at home with his parents and wife. His children had grown up and after spending a few days with Night Sorrow they ran out. Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan were both very talented. Although they were only in their 20s, after accelerating their cultivation in the Spacetime Pagoda, they were both saints with the ability to fight above their level. Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan didn't inherit Night Sorrow's supreme attribute, but they did inherit the spatial attribute. Not only were they talented, but even their true chi was spatial. After spending a few days with his family, Night Sorrow went to 7-night city. His parents and wife had to cultivate so they didn't follow. However, Datura followed. In fact, it was Night Sorrow who asked her to. Datura was already a giant. If he took another step forward, he would enter the legendary 9th level and have to endure the trials of wind and fire. Datura was very grateful that Night Sorrow taught him the heavenly mandate scripture. This was the real way to survive the catastrophe. Night Sorrow, when you want to go to the dark abyss to propose marriage, right? Datura looked at Night Sorrow, her eyes full of tenderness. She liked men like Night Sorrow who were persistent and hard-working. She liked that Night Sorrow was serious about her. Alua, we're not a good match now. Let's wait. Night Sorrow shook his head. Night Sorrow had his own persistence. If he went to the dark abyss to propose marriage now, Datura would be marrying someone of lower status. Night Sorrow didn't want that. You're not in a hurry, but I'll wait for you. Your cultivation speed is not bad. Now you're at the peak of the 4-star king. You can enter the 5-star king level at any time, Datura said. It consumes a lot of resources. The cost of cultivating in the Samsara Palace is 3 times that of others. I could cultivate for 120 years, but if I comprehend the 3 intents together, I can only cultivate for 40 years. I've used up most of my time. I'll think of something when I return to the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Night Sorrow said. He still had a lot of merits in the Qing Emperor's dynasty that he could exchange for time. He could exchange it for 200 or 300 years. That's fine too. If the Qing Emperor's dynasty doesn't have enough time to cultivate in the Samsara Palace, there's still a lot of time in the Dark Abyss. The Dark Abyss and the Qing Emperor's dynasty operate differently. Most of the resources in the Dark Abyss belong to me. Usually I'll just give some rewards to those who work hard. The Samsara Palace has more time to cultivate. Here's a Holy Spirit stone from Zhan Taiyang. Datura handed a storage ring to Night Sorrow. Okay. If I don't have enough time to cultivate, I'll look for you. Night Sorrow didn't treat him as an outsider and took the storage ring. The two chatted for a while and parted ways. Night Sorrow was going to the Qing Emperor's dynasty. After leaving for 24 years, he didn't know how the 9-story tower was doing now. Night Sorrow took the teleportation formation to the 9-story tower. Looking at the towering 9-story tower, he smiled. He had gained a lot after leaving for 24 years. With Night Sorrow's return, Sandalwood, Summer City, Yi, and Jun Xuanji all appeared. You're too cruel. You left for more than 20 years. You even delayed my wedding, Sandalwood said as she walked up and patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. Chapter 1261. Delay Senior Brother's Wedding? Yi Shang froze for a moment. After you left, Her Highness Jean Tan brought Missy Yi back. She told His Majesty that she wanted to get married, but after knowing that you weren't around, he refused. He's been waiting for Her Highness for more than 20 years, Summer City said. Senior, I'm sorry. I really didn't know, Night Sorrow said apologetically. What are you talking about? We're brothers. Let's not be polite. This is Sister Yi. After I get married, you can call her sister-in-law. Jean Tan introduced Yi to Night Sorrow. Greetings, Sister Yi. Senior, I'll go see Master first, then come back for a drink. Night Sorrow nodded at Yi. He knew that Yi was the person Jean Tan was looking for. Jean Tan nodded. Night Sorrow had been gone for 24 years. Now that he was back, he naturally had to greet Master. Summer City naturally followed Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow had been gone for 24 years, and he had been guarding the 9 grand floors for 24 years. Night Sorrow had just arrived outside the Qing Emperor's palace when the Qing Emperor appeared. He found that Night Sorrow had returned without Xian Daozi. Disciple greets Master and Uncle Xian Daozi. Night Sorrow bowed. It's good that you're back. Come, let's talk inside. Qing Emperor's face was full of relief. He was really worried. The Qing Emperor's guard had returned 20 years ago, and more than half of them had been lost. So he was worried about his disciple. Good boy, you've been gone for 20 years. But your cultivation has increased well. Your charm, there's an extra charm, Xian Daozi said. After entering the Azure Sky Pavilion, Night Sorrow began to make tea. Since he was with the elders, it was Night Sorrow's job to make tea. Your uncle Xian Daozi was right, Qing Emperor said, looking at Night Sorrow. You do have a different kind of charm. You clearly know the flow of energy within your body, but you can't feel it. In addition to obtaining resources over the years, this disciple has also made some gains in his own cultivation. Master, you may need this as well, Night Sorrow said. Alright, then we'll talk about it later. What have you been busy with in the Ice Dragon realm for the past 20 years? Qing Emperor was a little confused because no matter what he did, he wouldn't need 24 years. Disciple got to know the Ice Dragon and studied the Ice Dragon's ultimate techniques. Fortunately, I was able to learn something, Night Sorrow said. Xian Daozi and Summer City were not outsiders in the Azure Sky Pavilion. Ice Dragon. You got to know the Ice Dragon and studied the Ice Dragon's ultimate techniques. It seems that you have gained a lot this time. Qing Emperor's face was full of surprise. Xian Daozi and Summer City's hands that were holding the teacups were not even close to their mouths. Night Sorrow nodded. In fact, this trip to the Ice Dragon realm this time, he had gained both what he should and should not have. It was a perfect trip. Very good. After 24 years, your cultivation has improved very quickly, and you have become much more stable. It was very worth it. Qing Emperor nodded. Night Sorrow took out his manuscript of the Heavenly Mandate True Sutra and pushed it in front of Qing Emperor. This is disciple's greatest gain over the years. Master, please take a look at it later. Alright, then Master will take a look at it later. Qing Emperor smiled and put away the manuscript that Night Sorrow had already prepared. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow and Summer City left. Your Highness, after staying in the Ice Dragon realm for 24 years, you still got to know the Ice Dragon. I really didn't expect this, Summer City said. Haha, I stole the Ice Dragon's bones and he almost killed me. But later on, by chance, he didn't make things difficult for me. Night Sorrow smiled and said, if you can't get it, then you can't get it. No one else got it anyway. Summer City felt that it was already very good that Night Sorrow could come back safely. I didn't say that I didn't get it. I got 2 sets of Ice Dragon's bones and gave one to someone else. I kept the other one. Night Sorrow smiled and said, Your Highness, you got the Ice Dragon bones? Summer City asked, somewhat surprised. Yes, I got it. This time I got a lot. Look at what this is. At this time, Night Sorrow was now at the Jiucheng Tower, and he took the Ice Qilin out of the Dragon Cauldron. What is this? Jean Tan asked as she walked out of the hall. The Dark Frost Qilin Tiger. I named it the Ice Qilin. It's a mount. I'll ride it in the future. Senior brother, do you think it's cool? Night Sorrow asked Sandalwood with a smile. It's domineering. When we ride it during a battle, the sword chi and astral sabers will be unleashed. That's what a man should be like, said Sandalwood. Ice Qilin, you stay in this mansion. You can go wherever you want, but you are not allowed to run out. Night Sorrow sent Ice Qilin away before returning to the hall of the mansion. Senior brother, we can hold the wedding now. I'm in a hurry to attend the wedding, Night Sorrow said. Update most J fast on All right, I'll tell Master tomorrow. I'm going to cultivate after I'm done. Jean Tan nodded. He had accompanied Yi for almost 30 years, but he had never gone into seclusion to cultivate. While Night Sorrow was inscribing spell formations in the hall, Qing Emperor came in alone. Master, you're here? Night Sorrow greeted him. Keep an eye on Summer City. Don't let anyone get close. Qing Emperor nodded at Summer City. Summer City bowed and left. He knew that Qing Emperor had something important to tell Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, have you cultivated the true scripture of heavenly mandate? Qing Emperor asked. Yes, Master, don't worry. I've cultivated it. There's no leakage of energy from my body. It's the true leakless real body, Night Sorrow said. That's not what I meant. It's not that I don't trust you. I'm here to tell you that this must be kept a secret. If it's leaked, you'll become the enemy of all the Sky Masters in the world. This is what you rely on to survive the trials of wind and fire. Everyone wants it. No one can protect you if you're killed. Even I don't have the ability to do so, Qing Emperor said. Master, I understand. Because you're my master, I'll take it out. I'll weigh the importance and urgency. Night Sorrow nodded. You really make me happy and sad. This is a huge matter. I can't tell my parents, wife and children before they're old enough to cultivate. I can't tell Dachira either. It's not that I'm jealous of anyone, but it's too scary if this gets out. Even if I join forces with her, we won't be able to stop it, Qing Emperor said. Dachira is cultivating. I've made a marriage agreement with Dachira. We might get married later. I didn't tell you at first, not because I wanted to hide it from you, but because I didn't think it was necessary, Night Sorrow said. Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow in a daze. Then he smiled and said, in terms of ability, my children in Sandalwood are not as good as you. They're too far apart. The relationship between master and disciple and husband and wife is strong enough. She knows the seriousness of the matter. Master, don't be angry. I just thought it was weird, so I didn't tell you. Night Sorrow was a little embarrassed. Yes, I didn't expect the all-powerful Dachira to make such a decision. Qing Emperor sighed. Chapter 1262. Don't worry, Master. Dachira is really good to me. She spent a lot of effort on my hometown. She's also really worried about me going to the Ice Dragon realm, Night Sorrow said. I'm not worried. Given her level and personality, she won't play tricks. She won't do that. Give me 2 jugs of wine, Qing Emperor said to Night Sorrow. Master, I've got the remains of the Ice Dragon and the remains of the Dark Ice Tiger King. Does the Qing Emperor need them? Night Sorrow asked. To Night Sorrow, both the remains of the Ice Dragon and the Dark Ice Tiger King were enough to guard Haotian City. The other ordinary one would be enough to guard the city in the sky or Chia City. You're really going to turn the world upside down. You can get anything. You've got it. It's your destiny. It has nothing to do with me or the Qing Emperor's dynasty. It's best not to use the remains of the Ice Dragon and the Dark Ice Tiger King separately. It's better to use them in one place. I've studied the most famous formation in the Xianhuang world, the Xianhuang Dragon Tiger Formation. I can set it up, Qing Emperor said. It can only be set up in one place? Yishan asked in surprise. How many places do you plan to set it up? Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I want to set it up in 2 places in the 9 domains world, Night Sorrow said. It's fine if it's not too far away. The formation can support and respond to each other. That way the power of the formation won't be reduced. Hide it well. Wait for me to study the Xianhuang Dragon Tiger Formation and then set it up for you. I also need to collect spiritual stones. The Dragon Tiger Formation can't be broken even if it's not broken. I need at least 100,000 sacred spirit stones to set it up, Qing Emperor said with a smile. That much? Then I won't bother you, Master. Night Sorrow was a little stunned. It's nothing. Let's talk about the true scripture of heavenly mandate. You just have to shout, and there will be a lot of people who will come looking for you even if you have tens of millions of Saint Spirit stones. It's not a big deal for me to help you out. Qing Emperor said with a smile. I have 100,000 Saint Spirit stones, but it's not the right time to go to the 9 regions world to set up the formation. The 9 regions world is still growing and it hasn't fully formed yet. If we set up the formation now, I'm afraid that the 9 regions world will expand and change the terrain, which will affect the formation's effectiveness, said Night Sorrow. You have 100,000 Saint Spirit stones? Is there anything I don't know about you? Qing Emperor couldn't understand Night Sorrow. Ordinary monarchs would be lucky to have 50 or 60,000 Saint Spirit stones, but Qing Emperor knew that Night Sorrow had not used his merits to exchange for Saint Spirit stones. Even so, he still had 100,000 Saint Spirit stones. His wealth was terrifying. I dug up in or vein in the Ice Dragon world and dug up more than 500,000 Saint Spirit stones. Datura took care of Zhan Taiyang and took a portion of the resources. She gave me half of it, said Night Sorrow. That's fine. If you have any difficulties you can ask me for help. Before you get married, don't ask Datura for help. If you can, don't ask her for help. Otherwise your status will be affected if you get married. Qing Emperor reminded Night Sorrow and left. Night Sorrow's incident had touched Qing Emperor quite a bit. He felt that taking in Night Sorrow as a disciple had changed his fortune. Although Night Sorrow had been shadowed, Qing Emperor had also benefited a lot. Besides, he felt that no one could stop Night Sorrow's rise. He would give his full support. Datura was even more unreasonable. Whoever touched Night Sorrow he would fight to the death. There were some masters and disciples who hid their intentions. The master would want the disciple's harvest, or even say that the disciple had to work for the master, risking their lives for the master. Therefore, even if the disciple had something good, the disciple would not necessarily tell the master. But this was not the case between Night Sorrow and Qing Emperor. Qing Emperor practiced the way of the gentleman and was a righteous person. He took in disciples because he hit it off and wanted to support the young ones. Night Sorrow would not be stingy with anything he could do for his master. Therefore there was no hidden agenda between the two. Night Sorrow felt that he should make a trip to the Tianding Gate to deliver some resources to Danding Peak. Now that he had the strength, it would be easier for him to obtain resources. However, it would be harder for Yu Yangyu, Hua Yunpeng and the rest. After pondering for a while, Night Sorrow teleported to the city in the sky, then to Haotian City. He placed the Ice Dragon's bones, the mystical Ice Tiger King's bones, and the 500,000 Saint Spirit stones with his clone in the Heaven Sealing Hall before returning to the city in the sky to rest. Update: New most Q fast. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow left some Supreme Grade Spirit Stones and Saint Spirit Stones for Sikong Chuyu. Chuyu, the Sikong family needs to develop. Send this over. Sikong Chuyu nodded. The Sikong family was developing well now mainly because of Night Sorrow. Their foundation was not enough. Night Sorrow also gave some resources to Yang Lei and Aoi for them to send to the Medicine Valley. He had to support the development of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow also gave some resources to Yi Wuyo. The Night Moon Empire's development could not fall behind. Night Sorrow also did not forget to give some resources to Tianji Tower. Tianji Tower had taken good care of him in the past. After breakfast, Night Sorrow went to the Tianding Gate. After greeting Yu Yangyu, he left some elixirs and 10,000 Saint Spirit Stones for Danding Peak. 10,000 Saint Spirit Stones was a huge sum in the mysterious heaven world. Night Sorrow did not dare to give too much. It was fine as long as he had enough. In Night Sorrow's heart, Yu Yangyu was as important as the Qing Emperor. They were both his teachers. Yu Yangyu had even led him on the path of cultivation. He would not be stingy with anything he could do for Yu Yangyu. After telling Yu Yangyu to inform him if there were any problems, Night Sorrow returned to the Nine Chong building. After returning yesterday, Night Sorrow went to see the Qing Emperor. Since he was free today, he would naturally accompany his brother. Night Sorrow and Zhan Tan went to the Sky Tiger Pass and had a good chat with Nu Lin and the others. It had been 24 years since Night Sorrow left. Nu Lin and the others missed the days when Night Sorrow led them on a killing spree. Commander, that Chihuahua challenged us. However, Nu Lin led us to chase after him and beat him up like a dog. He even said something like, if you have the ability to fight him face to face, I will spit on his face. Wei Wei said. I didn't want to say anything about him at first. However, he's playing around now. Commander, how long have you been cultivating? How long has he been cultivating? Chiju said. Let him do whatever he wants. It's true that his cultivation is weaker than others. As long as he works hard, let's see who will have the last laugh. Night Sorrow said. Nu Lin send a challenge tomorrow. Didn't he ask for a challenge? I'll accompany him. Zhan Tan said after taking a sip of wine. He could not bear to see anyone bullying Night Sorrow. Chihuahua was obviously bullying him. How long had Night Sorrow cultivated? What was his cultivation level? How long had he been cultivating? What was his cultivation level? The challenge was obviously to suppress Night Sorrow's momentum. He could not tolerate it. Senior brother, there's no need to lower yourself to his level. I've never been calculative with people who have no morals. Night Sorrow said. I'll say it again. We're brothers in this life. If anyone wants to bully you, they will have to step over my dead body. If someone of the same level as you wants to fight you, I won't say anything. If someone wants to bully you, I'll play with him to the end. Jean Tan said. Junior brother Knight, let your senior brother go. Otherwise he'll be frustrated. He said. Junior brother, the main thing is that I plan to go into cultivation after getting married. Before I leave, I'll give him another slap in the face. Jean Tan said. Jean Tan became famous 5 million years ago. Jiwa was the same. They challenged each other to a battle. No one bullied the other. It was a competition of strength. First update. Chapter 1263. Then I won't say anything else. Let's have this. Let's have a good time. Night Sorrow took out a huge vat of wine and placed it on the table with a bang. Commander, what is this? Ji Wang asked. It's wine from the Ice Dragon's Prince Shitai's family. He gave it to me when I came back. It's strong and strong enough. Can you guys handle it? Night Sorrow opened the lid of the vat and scooped wine for everyone. Damn, you can drink like that? Wei Wei could not help but curse. Let's do it like that. Qin Leitang, who did not speak much, opened his mouth. Everyone drank excitedly. After a huge vat of wine, almost everyone collapsed. Night Sorrow was also a little dizzy. He went back to Ninechong building to rest. As for saying that the generals of Sky Tiger Pass drank too much and that it was not safe, that was nonsense. Once there was an alarm, these people would be as alert as monkeys. After going back to Ninechong building to wash his face, Night Sorrow felt more energetic. You two drinking so much. Hong Yi, who followed Night Sorrow to the general's residence and watched Night Sorrow drink, supported Night Sorrow as he came back, said, I'm happy. Since I'm happy today, I should drink more. Although I'm a little dizzy, they are all asleep. Qijue and Ning are all under the table. Night Sorrow said with a smile. They are all generals. Drinking so much that they are snoring under the table. What is this? Hong Yi was speechless. Normally, the generals of the Nine Heavens army were very dignified. They were swift and decisive, killing enemies from tens of thousands of miles away. But who knew that they would drink so much that they would slide under the table? Who was drunk under the table by our junior brother Knight? Qing Lin and Qing Wan arrived at Ninechong building. Why didn't you guys come earlier? I just finished drinking at Sky Tiger Pass. Other than senior brother Jean Tan, who can sleep on the chair, the others are about the same. There are 2 or 3 under the table, Night Sorrow said with a smile. You came back. Why didn't you call us when you were drinking? Qing Lin sat down and complained. Can you do it? Night Sorrow asked after taking a sip of the tea that Red Shirt had brewed. Junior brother Yi, this is your fault. Don't look down on others. I'm not as good as you when it comes to leading troops, but drinking wine is nothing, said Qing Lin. I can't do it today. I'm dizzy. Even if I drink more, I'll have to sleep under the table. Let's do it another day, Night Sorrow said as he rubbed his forehead. Qing Lin and Qing Wan smiled. They heard that Night Sorrow had returned and came to take a look. In the past 20 years, the Green Qilin Army and the Green Phoenix Army had developed quite well. It was Night Sorrow who had reduced the strength of the Red Emperor's empire to an extremely low level. On the other hand, Dark Abyss was also heavily damaged by Night Sorrow. Therefore, the Qing Emperor's empire's army was almost invincible. After chatting for a while, Qing Lin and Qing Wan left. No one asked about Night Sorrow's situation in the Ice Dragon realm because it was personal privacy. Soon, the news spread that the first prince of the Qing Emperor's empire, Sandalwood, would be getting married in a month. The Qing Emperor sent out wedding invitations everywhere, regardless of whether they had any grudges or not. It was not for anything else but to hold a decent wedding for his eldest disciple. Sandalwood had gone through a great ordeal. The Qing Emperor wanted him to live a decent life. Therefore he wanted to start with a decent and grand wedding. Not to mention the giants of the world of Samsara, even the people of the Bound of Universe were invited. Night Sorrow arranged the 9 Heaven Army, Storm Army, Qishan Army, and Amping Army to guard the Heaven Tiger Pass. The Angry Qilin Army, Thunder Army, Dingxiang Army, and Black Tiger Army were all transferred to the Qing Emperor's city. He also gave an order that no martial arts would be allowed in the Qing Emperor's city for the next month. This was Night Sorrow's arrangement. He did not want anyone to disturb his senior brother's wedding. After seeing Night Sorrow's record in the military department, the Qing Emperor smiled. These two haven't known each other for long, but their relationship is indescribable. Your Majesty, you don't know, right? Just the day before yesterday, Sandalwood sent a challenge to Chiwa of the Red Emperor's empire. He wanted to fight at the Heaven Tiger Pass, but Chiwa did not accept. Sandalwood was angry because Chiwa had challenged Sandalwood to a fight. He felt that it was bullying Night Sorrow, so he could not stand it. They really are brothers, Xian Daozi said. Chiwa challenged Night Sorrow to a fight? That boy is talented and capable, but he was blinded by hatred and anger, Qing Emperor said. Your Majesty, it seems that His Highness Night Sorrow has offended the Celestial Sect, Xian Daozi said worriedly. He screwed over one of the Celestial Sect's young masters. The Celestial Sect is so overbearing that I'm afraid they won't let this matter rest. This Emperor has sent an invitation to the Celestial Sect. It's true that you're a guest, but if you don't give this Emperor face, then this Emperor won't be polite either. Why didn't Night Sorrow trick others? Qing Emperor snorted. His Highness Night Sorrow is not the type of person to cause trouble, Xian Daozi said. He went to trick the young master of the Celestial Sect. That guy must have done something first. So what if I didn't do anything? In an adventure like the Ice Dragon Realm, everyone has to rely on their own abilities. Getting screwed over is useless. Qing Emperor was still angry. He knew that the young master of the Celestial Sect must have relied on his high cultivation to harm Night Sorrow first. Many people also knew that Night Sorrow had appeared. Everyone was paying attention to Night Sorrow because Night Sorrow had a heavenly artifact. No matter how powerful the rumors were, Night Sorrow didn't defend himself. This made many people even more certain that Night Sorrow had a heavenly artifact. Night Sorrow didn't care about these rumors at all. If the Celestial Masters dared to make a move against him, Qing Emperor would make a move. If the Celestial Masters didn't make a move, he had Summer City and the Qing Emperor's guard by his side. In addition, he also had a group of blood-robed guards secretly protecting him. Who could touch him? In a palace in the Red Emperor's empire, Chiwa smashed the table in front of him into pieces. Sandalwood, you've gone too far. I'll remember this. Chiwa, your heart is in a mess. Red Emperor appeared in the palace. Chiwa greets father. Chiwa bowed to Red Emperor. A loss is a loss. It's nothing in itself. But look at you now. You issued a challenge to Night Sorrow. The moment you did so, you bore the words can't afford to lose, and unscrupulous. Red Emperor's tone was very strict. Father, I know my mistake. Chiwa's voice was a little soft. The war between the Red Emperor's empire, the Qing Emperor's empire, and the Dark Abyss is a survival of the fittest. It's a necessity of the situation. This is nothing. When there's a war, we should unite against the enemy. Back then, father killed one of the Qing Emperor's brothers. The Qing Emperor hated him, but he didn't do anything overboard. If he really wanted to fight, I wouldn't be his match. The Red Emperor wouldn't be able to survive in the East District alone. But he didn't do that. Now that we've lost, you can't afford to lose? We can afford to lose. The Red Emperor's empire can afford to lose. We can be ruthless and use underhanded means, but we can't have no bottom line. Red Emperor reprimanded Chiwa. Chiwa knows my mistake. Chiwa bowed again. We'll go to Sandalwood's wedding. You and Tianxin will go with father. You have to apologize for this incident. In addition, the Red Emperor's empire's army near the borders of the Qing Emperor's empire will withdraw and defend the East District, Red Emperor ordered. Chapter 1264. It's fine if we don't attack them, but we still have to help them? Chiwa asked. That's right. The Qing Emperor wants to hold a grand wedding for Sandalwood and invited all the major powers. This is not only a big matter for the Qing Emperor's dynasty, but also a big matter for the eastern region of the world of reincarnation. Therefore, there are some things that the Red Emperor's country must do. The Red Emperor nodded. I understand. Chiwa nodded. He understood that this was an attitude. The eastern region of the world of reincarnation was united against outsiders. In the main hall of the Sky Peak sect, an old man wearing a purple gold crown was looking at the invitation. Sandalwood's wedding. It seems that the Qing Emperor still values this disciple of his. Then let's go and take a look. The Qing Emperor should have invited many people this time. Sect leader, isn't the Qing Emperor afraid of causing trouble? You have to know that the matter of his disciple having the heavenly artifact hasn't been resolved yet. An old man asked. Maybe someone will mention it this time, but the Qing Emperor won't be threatened. I'll go and take a look first. The old man sitting in the main seat said. He was the sect leader of the Sky Peak sect, Ling Tian. Godfather Xiangxi will go with you. A man with a face that was devoid of any flesh stood out. He looked like a dead man. This was Ling Tian's adopted son, Chang Xiangxi. His parents died when he was young. Some people said that he was born with a lowly life and brought bad luck to his parents. Ling Tian saw that his aptitude was not bad and took him in. Now he had become a good dog. If Ling Tian said that there was a problem, Chang Xiangxi would bite him without hesitation. Not to mention outside, even within the Sky Peak sect, Chang Xiangxi's reputation was extremely bad. He would bite whoever he caught. Anyway, he didn't care. His family had all been killed. As for Ling Tian had always been fine. Father Ling Ju also wants to go. That night sorrow, I won't let him go. Ling Ju stood out and said, Okay, Elder Jiao will go with me. Ling Tian nodded. Elder Jiao was an extremely strong member of the Sky Peak sect. Ling Tian always brought him along. It was the same for the other forces. The leaders who received the invitation all made the same decision. They brought their elites to see the world. After Yi Shang arranged some things, he spent his days deducing formations and cultivating combat skills, or rather, secret combat skills. Nu Lin and the others also went to the 9 grand floors to report some things. Currently, aside from the Azure the Arch Palace, the 9-layer pavilion was the core of the Azure the Arch dynasty. Many of the orders were issued by Yi Shang. Night Sorrow. Because no one was jealous of Yi Shang's high status and power. Qing Lin and Qing Wan didn't have any objections. The other princes were the same. Because of Yi Shang's appearance, the Qing imperial dynasty's prestige had become even greater. The main characters of the wedding, Sandalwood and Yi, also stayed in the 9-story building. Their own palace, the Heavy Flower Palace, had been built. They didn't go back. They would move in directly after the wedding. Sandalwood told Night Sorrow that he would cultivate in the Reincarnation Palace after the wedding. Yi didn't have many friends and acquaintances, so she would stay in the 9-story building. Night Sorrow had no problem. Sandalwood was his respected senior brother, and Yi was his sister-in-law. After Yi met Night Sorrow for a few days, she understood why Sandalwood was willing to do anything for Night Sorrow. It was because it was worth it. Night Sorrow was charismatic and had a strong bond. Some military officials often went to Night Sorrow to ask for instructions. Commander Tan, why didn't you tell Master about the transfer of the city guards? Why did you come to me? I'm only the commander of the 9 Heavens Army, Night Sorrow said as he looked at the transfer order that Tan Lin was holding. His Majesty said that you can make all the decisions in the military from now on. You can just come to His Majesty, Tan Lin said. Night Sorrow rubbed his forehead. This was happening more and more often. His Majesty said that you can make all the decisions. We can't delay His Majesty's cultivation, Tan Lin said. Okay. For now, the armies of the Dark Abyss and the Red Emperor's empire have all retreated. This shows that there won't be any war in the short term, which means that during my senior brother's wedding, there will be no war. Therefore, the city guards of each city can be transferred. However, we have to be careful of the surrounding small forces, Night Sorrow said. After sending Tan Lin away, Night Sorrow went to the martial arts arena and continued to make tea. Why did Master make this arrangement? If you can do it well, Master will be rest assured. I don't know what Master is busy with these days. I went twice, but Master didn't see me, Jean Tan said. Night Sorrow thought for a while and understood. The Qing Emperor must have gone to study the heavenly mandate scriptures. However, he didn't say anything about it. Jean Tan wasn't at that level yet. If it was Night Sorrow, he would tell her. A few days later, people came to the Qing Emperor's empire one after another. However, they were all received by Xian Daozi and Shangguan Hong. The Qing Emperor didn't show up. On this day, Night Sorrow was trying to get the feel of the sky splitter when Chiu brought someone who surprised him. It was Datura. The Qing Emperor hasn't been seeing guests recently. I can't stay in the guest house with nothing to do. After thinking about it, I came to see His Majesty Night Sorrow, who destroyed an army of the Dark Abyss, Datura said. His words were very formal. Of course they were for others to hear. What do you mean? Jean Tan, who had been sitting, stood up. Senior brother, it's nothing. The Lord Ruler is a guest. He won't lower himself to my level. Please take a seat, Lord Ruler. Night Sorrow invited Datura to sit down and sat down himself. After being locked up for 5 million years, your temper still hasn't disappeared, Datura said, looking at Jean Tan. Lord Ruler, the situation isn't like that. His Majesty Jean Tan's state of mind is very good. He just doesn't want His Majesty to be bullied, Summer City said. /_Q front page. First Jean Tan didn't say anything. That was the truth. 5 million years in the demon ceiling tower had made his state of mind very peaceful. However, when it came to Night Sorrow, he couldn't calm down. I can understand the brotherhood between brothers. Datura nodded. Her tone was also very calm. Everyone here was Night Sorrow's people. They would have to interact more in the future, so she kept her personality in check. My junior brother is still young. Please don't lower yourself to his level, Lord Ruler. Seeing that Datura didn't have any intention of denouncing him, Jean Tan stood up and cupped his hands. It's his fortune to have a senior brother like you. Night Sorrow, how about I rest in your 9 grand floors for a while? Datura asked. How could he not? Night Sorrow wanted Datura to move in, but he didn't have a reason. Now that Datura said so, it was appropriate. Steward arrange a pavilion for the Lord Ruler to rest in. Also, make arrangements for the Lord Ruler's followers, Night Sorrow said to Hichio. I also have a group of guards. Bring them in as well. If someone doesn't know better, they can protect me, Datura said. Nonsense. This is nonsense, Summer City thought. Who would dare to harm Datura? The guards were brought in to protect Night Sorrow. Chapter 1265. Night Sorrow asked Hichio to arrange a place for Datura and asked Fei Shio to bring Datura's guards over. The matter was settled. Xiaqing also admired Yi Shang's ability to keep his composure. There wasn't the slightest bit of abnormality. Junior brother, this is a dangerous person. But since she's here, she won't be a threat to you, Jean Tan said. Our previous conflict was a war, not a personal grudge. She won't hurt me. Night Sorrow felt that the fewer people who knew about his relationship with Datura, the better. He was not trying to hide it from anyone, but it was not a good time to spread it. She doesn't have any killing intent. With her status, she won't do anything to you, Jean Tan nodded. At night, Night Sorrow was reading the information that Jun Xuanji had compiled in the main hall of the 9-story building. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the main hall. It was Datura. Night Sorrow got up and brought Datura into the study. Luo, aren't you afraid that my senior brother and Uncle Summer will find out? If they find out, then so be it. I've already said that you can go to the Dark Abyss to propose at any time. I'm not afraid of others finding out. Datura pulled a chair and sat beside Night Sorrow. All right. When the time is right, I'll go propose. Night Sorrow nodded and got up to make tea. Night Sorrow, your senior brother is really good to you, Datura said. Of course. A few days ago, senior brother even went to deal with Chihuahua for me. All right, I've told Master about us. Master is also very happy, Night Sorrow said. If he knows, then he knows. He won't object. Do you know why the Eastern District of the World of Reincarnation is stable and why the other districts and powers don't want to provoke them? Because of your master's existence, both the Red Emperor and I trust him. He's a gentleman, so there's trust in the East District. At critical moments, we can unite against the outside world. Now, the Qing Emperor's imperial dynasty needs to settle some matters, and the Red Emperor's imperial army has retreated. This is an attitude of unity against the outside world, Datura said. I understand. Originally, senior brother's wedding was not a big deal, but my matter might be a dispute. I've been in the Ice Dragon realm for more than 20 years, and I've been quiet for more than 20 years. Now that I've returned, some people won't let me go. Night Sorrow was still worried. Who's afraid? Your master is a gentleman, but he has the anger of a gentleman. Whoever dares to cross the line will have to test your master's anger. Whoever dares to touch you, I'll kill them. There's no need to say anything else. The Red Emperor will also stand out, Datura said. I seem to be a jinx. Night Sorrow drank a mouthful of tea. What nonsense. You're a lucky star. Your appearance may cause some things, but what follows is a rise. A virtuous body is a jinx. If this were to spread, people would laugh their teeth off, Datura said with a smile. Isn't there still some time? You're here so early, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Look at the original L version equals our chapter. I'm early. Don't you welcome me? Datura stared at Night Sorrow with her beautiful eyes. No, how could that be? I couldn't wait for you to come, Night Sorrow quickly explained. He didn't want anyone around him to be unhappy. Actually, I just missed you. I wanted to come early when I had nothing to do. Dachira's voice was a little lower. Aluo, our meeting may not be a happy one, but the result is good. I'm very happy to have your feelings. Thank you, Night Sorrow said. You're saying this again. This is fate. I don't want to listen to this. Let me ask you, did you miss me? Dachira moved her chair closer to Night Sorrow. They sat side by side and leaned her head on Night Sorrow's shoulder. Of course I miss you. That's why I'm working hard to cultivate now. It's for the future, Night Sorrow said. You don't have to work too hard. You're weaker than me, but when I'm by your side I feel at ease. I feel like you can handle anything. Even if the sky were to collapse, I wouldn't have to worry about anything, said Mantua. Night Sorrow reached out and hugged Dachira. He gently patted Dachira's arm. He knew that no matter how strong Dachira was, she was still a woman. Seeing Dachira leaning on his shoulder with her eyes closed, Night Sorrow didn't move. Then he realized that Dachira had fallen asleep. Night Sorrow's mind was filled with everything that had happened since they met. He was very satisfied with what he had now. After the Sandalwood wedding, he would return to the Tianan dynasty to seek justice for the Yi family. In addition, he had to deal with the evil spirit king in Sangjiang. Then he would have no worries. After the night passed, Dachira woke up at dawn. She stretched her waist and looked at Night Sorrow. You're just going to sit here and let me lean on you? Yes, Aluo, you're so beautiful. Night Sorrow nodded. At this moment, Dachira had an elegant and gentle beauty. I'm leaving. It's not good to be seen. Dachira tidied her skirt and disappeared from the study. Night Sorrow exhaled and left the study. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, Yi Qianhua and Yi Tian appeared. Sit. Great ancestors, even if you're wandering outside, you should come back to visit when you're free, Night Sorrow said. Recently, I've been comprehending will, Yi Qianhua said. That's a good thing. Now that you have 70% will, you'll enter the king realm if you work harder. Night Sorrow was very happy to see Yi Qianhua's progress. I'm still a little short. It's like this. Now that the Tianan dynasty has retreated, I want to return to the Yi family's land. That used to be my home, Yi Qianhua said. I'm sorry. I didn't think of this. The original land of the Tianan dynasty hasn't been occupied yet. Great ancestor, you can just announce it. As for how to develop it, you can discuss it with the Yi family, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, you're now the head of the Yi family. We have to discuss it with you, Yi Tian said. Since when am I the head of the family? There are so many elders here. I don't have the right to speak. Everyone can discuss it as they see fit, Night Sorrow said. Many years ago, the Yi family had a meeting and decided that you're the head of the family. However, everything is handled by the elders, Yi Qianhua said. I have no objections. No one in the Tianan world will attack us now. It's good to rebuild it. After all, it's the roots of the Yi family. It's the ancestral land of the Yi family. However, safety comes first, Night Sorrow said. Yi Qianhua and Night Sorrow nodded. They knew that if Night Sorrow said that no one would attack them, no one would attack them. Also, don't go into seclusion for the time being. Later, I'll go settle the Tianan dynasty's matter. What they owe us we must pay. No one can stop us. Night Sorrow's eyes were filled with determination. Then we'll return to the 9-domain world. We'll first occupy the ancestral land and wait for your news. We'll be there when the battle starts, Yi Qianhua said. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm in a daze. I have to go to sleep. I'll continue working in the morning. It's the end of the month. Those brothers and sisters who have spent money will give out devil fruits. Those who have spent 1 yuan will get 1 devil fruit. Excavators and Lulu don't cost money. I'll use them every day. The next few updates will be in place on time. I said that I'll guarantee a minimum of 4 updates. I'll explode from time to time. It's not empty words. Chapter 1266. Okay. Here are some Holy Spirit stones. Take them. Night Sorrow gave the 2 of them some more. After the 2 left, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea beside the arena. Dachira walked over and sat down. Steward I didn't see Uncle Xia and Senior Brother today. Where are they? Night Sorrow asked Hichio. Uncle Xia said he was going to accompany Miss Yi and Jean Tan to buy wedding clothes. I don't know what's going on. Uncle Xia has never asked about these things before. Hichio was puzzled. Yes, maybe it's a whim. You should go and see if there's anything you can help with in the mansion. Night Sorrow instructed Hichio. Night Sorrow understood why Uncle Xia did this. It was to make it easier for him to talk to Dachura. Haha, Xia City has such an understanding. Not bad, Mandela said with a smile. Uncle Xia looks fierce but he's very kind to me. He's always considerate of me. I've promised Uncle Xia that I'll let him retire in the city in the sky once things are stable. Night Sorrow said. Okay. By the way, how did it feel when you hugged me yesterday? Dachura casually set up a barrier and asked Night Sorrow with a smile. What? I asked you to lean on me and hug me. If others hear this, they'll misunderstand. Night Sorrow was speechless at Dachura's words. You didn't hug me? A man has to admit to his actions. Are you sure you didn't hug me? Dachura looked at Night Sorrow with a big smile on his face. I did. I hugged my fiancée. What's wrong with that? Night Sorrow said. It's nothing. I just want you to admit it. Don't do it. If you don't want to admit it, I'm not the kind of person who keeps quiet. Mandela picked up the teapot and poured a cup of tea for Yishang. At this time, Jean Tan, who was shopping in Qing Emperor City, was a little distracted. Uncle Xia, I'm worried that the Dark Dominator won't hurt Junior Brother. But to be frank, Junior Brother will be wronged. You're thinking too much. Night Sorrow will take care of some things. Don't worry. Let's walk around and see if there's anything else we need. Summer City dragged Jean Tan away. Jean Tan was confused, but she still followed Xia Cheng and continued shopping. Mandela and Yishang were chatting. Yishang, I feel very happy right now. Is this what the books say about mutual love? Yishang nodded. Actually, he really enjoyed this moment. When Jean Tan came back, she saw Night Sorrow and Dachura sitting in the martial arts practice field. They were talking and laughing. She was puzzled, but she didn't go there. After 2 days of peace, the Red Emperor took Akatsuki and Chiwa to the Jochong building. The Red Emperor and Dachura saluted each other. They were both giants in the eastern district of the world of Samsara, so they had to be polite. Red Moon, I'm sorry for what happened last time. It shouldn't have happened. No matter how big the conflict is, I shouldn't have hurt your son. I've done the same for so many years. But Chidu crossed the line. Dachura looked at the Red Emperor and said, the stability of the eastern district of the world of Samsara is because all three of us stick to the line. I didn't think it through last time. You've crossed the line. The Red Emperor said. Dachura nodded. She didn't explain because she was afraid of the Red Emperor, but for the sake of the overall situation. She wanted to give the Red Emperor a way out. She could kill Zhang Taiyang. How could she be afraid of the Red Emperor? Of course not. The Red Emperor also understood this. The Red Emperor's name was Red Moon. Night Sorrow, you're a junior. I won't blame you for killing Chidu. But Chidu has brothers. I don't care about the fight between you two. But there's a line that can't be crossed. I'll admit that I didn't educate Chidu well. In addition, Chiwa apologizes. The Red Emperor looked at Night Sorrow and nodded to Chiwa. Chiwa was rude to challenge you before. It's my fault. But Chiwa won't forget that you killed my brother. When you reach the Monarch realm, let's fight. Chiwa saluted to Night Sorrow. I, Night Sorrow, will remember your Highness Chiwa's challenge. Night Sorrow nodded. I'm the only one that's authentic, but I'm the only one that's pirated. Jean Tan, your opponent should be me. But your wedding is coming soon. Let's not talk about this. I'm here to congratulate you. Let's talk about this later. Let's see who can take the next step first, Akatsuki said to Jean Tan. Okay. Jean Tan saluted. She had to be polite when someone came to congratulate her. Dachura, aren't you angry that Dachura is so arrogant? The Qing Emperor looked at Dachura and asked. What are you talking about? You and I have known Qing Shangjuan for so many years. Don't we know what kind of person he is? Everyone has something urgent to deal with. He wouldn't go out of his way to meet someone, Dachura said. Qing Shangjuan was the name of the Qing Emperor. That's true. Let's not talk about it. Let's go. Red Emperor turned and left. Night Sorrow also sent them to the entrance of the 9 grand floors. No matter what kind of person the Red Emperor was, he brought his son to apologize today. This was a rare strength of character. In addition, as a Titan, he was also qualified to be respected by others. I didn't expect that, Night Sorrow muttered after returning to the side of the martial arts practice field. Chiyu is hard to say, sometimes his style of doing things is very imposing, sometimes he is unscrupulous, but he said something right, his education method is wrong, Chidu's killing of soldiers is too willful, such a thing shouldn't have happened. In addition, Chidu went to the 9 Firmament World Group, this shouldn't have happened, the Crimson Emperor should know this. However, his education method also brought up several very wild sons. Akatsuki and Chiwa are both very outstanding, Summer City said. Datura nodded. As a cultivator, he respected the fact that the Red Emperor had several outstanding sons. No one could deny this. When Jean Tan stayed in the Demon Ceiling Tower, Akatsuki was the first of the second generation in the eastern district of the world of Samsara. In the next few days, people came to the Qing Emperor's dynasty one after another. Half a month after the invitations were sent out, the Qing Emperor appeared. During this time he studied the scripture of heavenly mandate. Now he understood it. The Qing Emperor first went to the Jiuchong building and saw Datura. He expressed his apology. Datura naturally didn't care about this. Then the Qing Emperor looked at Zhan Tan and Night Sorrow. Other Qing Emperor giants brought their outstanding disciples to the Qing Emperor's dynasty. My disciples are not bad either. You two follow me. Let's go to the Yingbin building. Master, don't you want to bring senior brother Qinglin and senior sister Qingwan? Otherwise they will feel uncomfortable, Night Sorrow said. He didn't want Qinglin and Qingwan to feel uncomfortable. After all, the Qing Emperor was their father. Okay, we'll listen to you. Someone tell Qinglin and Qingwan to come here. The Qing Emperor nodded and agreed. Qing Emperor Wei, Summer City, and Zhan Tan were all surprised. The Qing Emperor never changed his decision because of other people's words. Qing Shangjuan, this is not like you, Datura said. Chapter 1267. That's not a big deal. My decision is right because I want to bring the best ones. But Night Sorrow is also right. If I only bring Sandalwood and Night Sorrow, it will affect Green Lin and Green Phoenix's state of mind. No one said these words before. Now that Night Sorrow is willing to say it, Night Sorrow is also right, said the Qing Emperor. After Green Lin and Green Phoenix arrived, the Qing Emperor took them to the VIP building of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. It was an exclusive area with many independent pavilions. First they met the Red Emperor. After all, he was also a giant in the eastern district of the world of Samsara. After drinking 2 cups of tea, the Red Emperor stood up. We haven't talked directly or met for many years, so we didn't say some words face to face. I was young and impetuous, which caused Nyo Air's death. I'm sorry and thank you for your tolerance for many years. Nyo Air, I have let him down. For many years I have been wavering between revenge and tolerance. He is my oldest brother. The Qing Emperor heaved a sigh of relief. If it's now, I won't hurt him. The battle was too fierce. The Red Emperor said. Can we burn some incense? This resentment is over. I have to explain it to Nyo Air. We don't need to leave a reason for a life and death battle. The Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow and said. No problem. The resentment is over. We can fight in the future. We don't need to fight for revenge. The Crimson Emperor nodded his head. He understood that the reason why the Azure Emperor didn't want to fight with him was because he wanted to maintain the balance in the eastern region of the world of reincarnation. It was because of the big picture. When the balance was no longer needed, the Azure Emperor would look for him to settle the grudge with Nyo Air. It was best to resolve it now. Then the Qing Emperor took the 4 princes of the Qing Emperor's dynasty in Summer City to leave the guest building where the Red Emperor lived. He took the 4 princes for the sake of appearances. Summer City used to be his personal guard, so he should follow him. Summer City, this is the only way to avenge Nyo Air, the Qing Emperor said after leaving the guest building where the Red Emperor lived. If the Red Emperor is willing to burn incense, Nyo Air can rest in peace. He will understand your majesty, Summer City said. The Qing Emperor nodded. He didn't want to give up, but the Qing Emperor's dynasty also needed the overall situation. After the Qing Emperor left, the Red Emperor was lost in thought. Tinshin Chiwa, you have to work hard. The Qing Emperor used to be the strongest in the eastern district of the world of Samsara, but he has a good temperament. Now Datura's strength suddenly skyrocketed. Father is the weakest. They won't destroy the Red Emperor's dynasty, but it's not a good feeling. Akatsuki and Chiwa nodded. Among the younger generation, Qinglin and Qingwan have exhausted their potential and can't do much. But Sandalwood is different. After 5 million years of accumulation, once he rises, he will have a chance to become a giant. The most terrible one is Night Sorrow. He is young, but his strength has been increasing rapidly. His strength will be limitless in the future. The Red Emperor evaluated the princes of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Night Sorrow's breath is calm. I can't see anything. Akatsuki said. You don't have enough vision. His aura is not leaking out. This is his realm. Emperor Qing, Emperor Mandela, and I can't do it, but he has done it. I can clearly sense that he is a 4-star sovereign king at the peak, but I can't sense the flow of energy. This is a sign that his energy is not leaking out, and he has perfect control over it. The Crimson Emperor expressed his feelings. Akatsuki and Chiwa looked at each other. After hearing the Red Emperor's words, they realized that they had ignored the problem. Because Night Sorrow's cultivation was much lower than theirs, they didn't pay attention to it. In every era there are geniuses who are born and run amok. Night Sorrow cultivated to the peak of the 4-star king in 100 years. This is too rare. In this era he will become the most dazzling monster. The possibility of a person with a body of merit falling is very small. There is no need. Don't be too strict in doing things. We are allies with the Qing Emperor's dynasty. The Red Emperor looked at his 2 sons and said, Father, are we really going to let go of Chidu's revenge? Chiwa asked. Chidu went to the 9 Clouds World Group because he planned to make a move on Night Sorrow's family. Father acquiesced. This is the loss of father's virtue. There is nothing to say about the loss of a son. Revenge. Chidu was captured by Datura Datura. The main enemy is Datura Datura. Who can do anything to her? She can kill a Sky Pillar Tycoon and run amok. If we eat this loss we have to admit it. The Red Emperor opened his mouth and said something that he didn't want to mention. Akatsuki and Chiwa hurriedly bowed and said that they didn't dare. After Chidu fell I did some reflection. In terms of strength I am not as good as Datura Datura or Qing Emperor. My temperament and cultivation are not enough. To be honest, for many years they have been tolerating us. This is also a kindness. As a person we can't forget our roots. The Red Emperor said. Everyone had different states of mind at different times and so did the Sky Pillar Tycoons. The Qing Emperor arrived at the guest house where the Sky Pillar sect was located. Ling Tian and Elder Jia both stood up and cupped their hands to the Qing Emperor. Thank you, Sect Master Ling and Elder Jia, for coming to the Qing Emperor's city to attend my disciple's wedding. The Qing Emperor said. Brother Qing's invitation has reached the Sky Pillar sect, so I naturally have to come. Ling Tian nodded, and then his eyes fell on the people behind the Qing Emperor, and finally fixed on Night Sorrow. At this time Ling Ju's eyes were about to spit fire when he looked at Night Sorrow. If eyes could kill, then Night Sorrow would have been cut into pieces. Young man, are you Night Sorrow? Ling Tian asked. Night Sorrow greets Sect Master Ling. Night Sorrow bowed and said, Don't you think that what you did to Ling Ju of the Sky Pillar sect was a bit too much? After all, we are all from the world of samsara. Ling Tian's eyes were very sharp, and even ordinary people couldn't bear it. Did I, Night Sorrow, go too far? Ling Ju brought a person and 2 high-level King Realm cultivators and killed me without saying anything. Is that not enough? Night Sorrow was very disgusted by Ling Tian's tone. Impudent. How dare you speak to our sect master with such a tone? Chang Xiangxi stood out and stared at Night Sorrow with a pair of dead fish eyes. You're the impudent one, you have no right to speak here. Sandalwood took a step forward and roared. Ling Tian, are you here to denounce us today? Qing Emperor spoke, and changed the way he addressed Ling Tian because Ling Tian's actions had already made him unhappy. Brother Qing, you must be joking. I came here to receive the wedding invitation, and was just casually asking. Brother Qing, you don't have to be so cautious. Ling Tian's smile was very fake. All right, when the auspicious day comes, I will send someone to invite you. Qing Emperor said. He knew that this was Ling Tian and he was very good at using politics to the extreme. Forever free. Look, brat, don't think that you're so great. Disrespecting our sect master will not end well. Looking at Night Sorrow, Chang Xiangxi threw out a sentence. The Sky Pillar sect had the power to speak in the world of samsara, so their people were very arrogant and didn't put anyone in their eyes. Trying to scare me? Who do you think you are? You better not provoke me. Night Sorrow turned around and looked at Chang Xiangxi. Dog, this is not the place for you to be so arrogant. Qing Wan was also angry. Chapter 1268. Lord Ling, take him back and teach him a lesson. Qing Emperor glanced at Chang Xiangxi and then left with Night Sorrow and the others. After leaving the guest house, Qing Emperor said to Night Sorrow and the others, A gentleman doesn't quarrel with a villain. If he can bear it, he will. If he can't, he will take the opportunity to kill him. Senior sister, you scolded him. I'm not angry anymore. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Scold him? No, I didn't. Chang Xiangxi is a dog. Many people know that. He bites whoever he sees. Blue Phoenix said. Girls, even if he is like that, don't make it sound so bad. Qing Emperor glanced at his daughter and said. Then, Qing Emperor led the others to walk around several guest houses. Finally, they arrived at the Tang dynasty, the top force in the black-yellow world. The Tang dynasty was very powerful in the black-yellow great world. Its current emperor was also the governor of the Tang city. Brother Qing, I'm here, but you haven't shown up for several days. What's the meaning of this? As soon as Qing Emperor entered the guest house, a middle-aged man wearing a white jade hairpin came out. The middle-aged man looked kind and peaceful. It was not a good thing to judge a book by its cover and look down on this middle-aged man. Because Tang Jianfeng, the smiling Yama, was not someone to be trifled with. Once he was trifled with, he would be in big trouble. Ah, Brother Tang, don't mind it. I've been thinking about something these days. Please forgive me if I neglect you. Qing Emperor walked quickly and said. Come, Tang Xian, Tang Yi, Tang Jun, Tang Bo, all of you come over. This is your father's best friend, the ruler of the Azure Emperor dynasty, Lord Azure Emperor, Tang Jianfeng said with a smile. Then the 3 men and 1 woman behind Tang Jianfeng all saluted Qing Emperor. This is my only friend in the black-yellow great world, City Lord Tang. He is also my best friend who has gone through life and death situations with me, Emperor Qing said to his disciples and children. You youngsters go to the side and chat. Don't disturb us. Summer City, it's been a long time since we last met. Have a seat too. Tang Jianfeng waved his hand at the youngster and chased him away. Your aura is very familiar. Where have I seen you before? I remember now. Ice Dragon Realm. That day when we were hunting an ice dragon, you passed by and flashed away. Tang Bo pointed at Night Sorrow and thought for a moment before remembering. I remember Brother Tang. It's just that I didn't know you back then, so I didn't get close and left. Yishang nodded. Tang Bo remembered Yishang's aura, and so did Yishang. A 4-star king can run amok in the Ice Dragon Realm. Tang Bo admires you. Tang Bo cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. Those who hadn't been to the Ice Dragon Realm didn't know the situation there, but Tang Bo knew how dangerous it was. When he probed Night Sorrow, he knew Night Sorrow was alone. Brother Tang, you flatter me. Night Sorrow also cupped his hands in return. The youngsters had a lot of topics to talk about. Tang Bo and the others also had a good impression of Night Sorrow, so they also invited Night Sorrow to visit the black-yellow great world. Qing Emperor and Tang Jianfeng also chatted for a while before leaving with their disciples. They went straight back to the Azure Sky Pavilion. Today I'll show you around. You know who's friendly and who's hostile. Be careful when you travel the Jianghu in the future. Qing Emperor looked at his disciples and children and said. Night Sorrow and the others nodded. No matter what kind of language they used, their attitudes were different from each other. Summer City, take care of Night Sorrow during this time. There are some brave people who aren't afraid of death. Qing Emperor told Summer City. Summer City nodded. He knew that this was a special time. After Qing Emperor left, Tang Jianfeng also talked with the 3 men and 1 woman he brought. Tang Xian, Tang Yi, Tang Jun and Tang Bo were the 4 of them. Tang Jun was his nephew and the other 3 were his children. First, Tang Bo, do you know that young man? Tang Jianfeng looked at Tang Bo and asked. I've seen him in the Ice Dragon Realm. He's alone without a team and he's very fast, Tang Bo said. That young man is truly extraordinary, he doesn't leak any of his aura at all, but there's the will of spacetime revolving around him. His future is boundless. In addition, it's rumored that he has a heavenly Tao divine artifact. However, all these have nothing to do with us. No matter what he has, he is someone from the Azure Imperial Empire. Father, I didn't see you and Qing Emperor walking together. Tang Xian said. The friendship between gentlemen is as light as water. If there is a friendship, it will be the same even if there is no interaction. Back then, I don't know how many years ago, we were still sovereigns. We were adventuring in the world of reincarnation together. That time we almost died, but we survived in the same boat. After that, we often went on missions together, so our friendship is real. It is a friendship that has gone through life and death together. If you are adventuring in the world of reincarnation, you can pay a visit when you have time. Tang Jianfeng said. Tang Xian and the others nodded. They all took this matter seriously because Tang Jianfeng had never said that he had a good relationship with anyone. Now that he said it, it meant that their friendship was very strong. Night Sorrow stayed in the Azure Sky Pavilion for a while before leaving. Sandalwood, Qing Lin and Qing Wan also left the Azure Sky Pavilion. Junior brother Knight, you're currently in the limelight, so be careful, Qing Wan said. Thank you, Senior Sister Ching Wan. I'll be careful. Night Sorrow nodded. He also knew that it would be very chaotic recently. None of those powerful figures were soft-footed crabs. They were all cunning old foxes. After separating, Night Sorrow, Sandalwood, and Summer City returned to the Nine Chong Pavilion. Did you go around? Datura asked. I went around and got to know those powerful figures and the young talents of the various forces. Night Sorrow nodded. Did you have any problems? Datura asked again. She was mainly worried that someone would harm Night Sorrow. It's nothing. I was just bitten twice by a dog. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Datura looked at Summer City and Sandalwood and didn't say anything. She was angry, but she didn't express it because it wasn't appropriate. Lord Ruler, it was a dog raised by the celestial sex Ling Tian. It's called Chang Xiangxi. It's nothing. Summer City said. So it's him. Then it's nothing. If he bites you, you can't bite him back. If you're really angry, just break his teeth. Datura said. Night Sorrow smiled. This was Datura. He didn't hide his emotions. He really wanted to ask Datura why the celestial sect was so arrogant without a powerful figure. However, Night Sorrow also knew that if it was appropriate for him to know, Datura and the Qing Emperor would tell him. The celestial sect is really arrogant. Looking at that old man's face, I really want to slap him twice. It's really infuriating. Sandalwood said. There are many people who want to slap his old face. You're not the only one. Datura looked at Sandalwood and said. Chapter 1269. After that, Jean Tan went to look for Yi, and Summer City also left. Only Night Sorrow and Datura were left sitting in the pavilion next to the martial arts arena. Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. Night Sorrow, the waters of this boundless world are very deep. The celestial sect is arrogant even though they don't have a heaven master because they have inheritance, puppet techniques and heaven master level puppets. Who would be willing to fight to the death with a puppet? The price is completely unequal. Datura looked at Night Sorrow with curiosity in his eyes and said. Heaven master level puppets? Night Sorrow stood up in surprise. That's right, so no one is willing to provoke this group of mad dogs unless they go too far and cross the bottom line. Datura explained the reason why the celestial sect could be so arrogant. Night Sorrow nodded and understood the reason. Who would be willing to fight to the death with a puppet? If you die, it's your life, but if they die, it's a puppet. Just be yourself. Don't jump around. We're not afraid even if they jump, Datura said. Luo, I've troubled you with my matters, said Yishan. I don't like what you're saying. In addition, I have something to tell you today. It's also very important. Datura looked at Night Sorrow and said. Say it. I will take what you say to heart and value it. Night Sorrow nodded. There's an opponent in my destiny. We haven't met, but we both know that she should look exactly like me. I'm worried that she will harm you. Datura looked at Night Sorrow and said. Then Datura told Night Sorrow that the Dark Abyss was also known as the Kingdom of Death, and there was a faint Yellow Spring River. Datura was the Datura who was born by the Yellow Spring River, but there was another kind of Yellow Spring River called Datura Chinensis. Datura was the Datura king, and the Datura Chinensis was the same. They were also successful in cultivation. Datura was not evil and was even kind, but the Datura Chinensis represented terror and evil. Where is she? Night Sorrow asked. I don't know. The faint Yellow Spring River runs through the void, not only in the world of reincarnation, it exists in any world, but it exists in any world. I don't know where Datura Chinensis was born, but I have a feeling that she will come into the world for her to cause trouble for me. I was for her, for me, for you. I for you, she will find trouble with me. Don't worry, we will take care of everything. Night Sorrow said. Datura shook her head at Night Sorrow. Then energy erupted from her body, and a mysterious aura enveloped her and Night Sorrow. Mandela took out her machete and waved it. The tip of the machete made a cut on her left hand near her wrist. Then she drew a flower on Night Sorrow's wrist. Night Sorrow's body was strong, but he still could not block Datura's knife. A flower appeared on his wrist in a moment. Because of the death energy, Night Sorrow's wound healed, but it also left a scar. I used my life energy to isolate the karma of the heavenly Tao and left a mark on our bodies. Remember, we have to pay attention to each other when we meet. She's the same as me. Other than her clothes being different, everything else might be the same. I'm worried that she'll transform and appear. Night Sorrow looked at his left hand and nodded at Dachura. He understood that if Dachura was so serious, the matter must be very serious. You don't have to worry too much. I just have a feeling. I'm not afraid of her in terms of strength. Dachura looked at Night Sorrow's nervous face and said with a smile, I, Night Sorrow, am willing to bear all of this. So, if there is anything, don't worry. We will bear it together. Night Sorrow said. At this moment, Mandala's body spun, and her body transformed into a white silk dress. Actually, I was originally like this. It's just that I didn't want to fight and scheme against each other, which would taint this purity. Mandala Lily is a red silk dress. I will remember. Night Sorrow nodded. Then Dachura returned to the black dress with Dachura embroidered on it. You are a body of merit. Some products of the heavenly path will not kill you easily. It is not good for them, but they have no qualms about killing you, Dachura said. Luo, you don't have to worry too much about me. You have your own path and so do I. You have to hurry up and cultivate. I feel that after cultivating the true scripture of heavenly mandate, my actual ability has improved a lot, Yishang said. Do you think I am stupid? If I didn't cultivate with such a good thing, I would have gone into seclusion to cultivate. The one you were hugging yesterday was also a clone. Dachura's eyes were full of smiles. What a loss. It's not worth it. Night Sorrow glanced at Montua. Aren't you also a clone? Seriously. Dachura glared at Night Sorrow. The next few days were peaceful, and Night Sorrow hoped that this peace would continue so that Sandalwood's wedding would go smoothly. He knew that the people who had come were all top powers, and they would not make a small fuss. If they did make a move, it would be a huge matter. Jun Xuanji sent a message to Night Sorrow. The Black Fiend Valley, the Celestial Sect, Sky Seizing Island, and Shinwu Continent's Martial God Hall often interacted with each other. This time, Sky Seizing Island's Zhan Taiyang had also come, and the Qing Emperor had also sent an invitation. Jun Xuanji could not refuse to come. If he did not dare to show up, then Sky Seizing Island would not be able to survive. He had only lost to Dachura, but he was still on par with the other powerhouses. Night Sorrow felt that a storm was brewing, but he knew that since the information was in his hands, the Qing Emperor should already know. When Night Sorrow communicated with Dachura, he also mentioned this matter. Snakes and rats alike, but it doesn't matter. So what if they are working together? The eastern district of the reincarnation realm is not afraid, Dachura said. Luo, they are working together to put pressure on the Qing Emperor's dynasty and force the Qing Emperor's dynasty to hand me over, Night Sorrow said. That is very likely, but there are so many forces here and the other forces will not let them do as they wish. Sai, the Qing Emperor is holding a grand wedding for Sandalwood at this time. Although it is to fulfill a wish, it is also to bring trouble to himself. Dachura felt that the Qing Emperor's style of doing things was very different from before. Senior Sandalwood has been suppressed for 5 million years. Master wants to give him a perfect start, Night Sorrow said. Dachura nodded. She could understand the Qing Emperor's actions. They were supported by his emotions. In the evening, Dachura arrived at the Qing Emperor's palace. The Qing Emperor personally welcomed Dachura into the Azure Sky Pavilion. Release the blockade. The Dark Abyss Bloodstrike Guards want to enter the Qing Emperor's city, Dachura said after entering the Azure Sky Pavilion. The Qing Emperor nodded. Thank you for your trouble. You have to know what kind of person Ling Tian is, so you have to be prepared. This is a matter of the Qing Emperor's dynasty, but it is also a matter of the eastern district of the reincarnation realm. We can't afford to lose, Dachura said, then turned and left. Yes, we can't afford to lose, the Qing Emperor muttered to himself. Authentic, Your Majesty, what should we do? Xian Daozi was a little anxious. Fight. I haven't fought for many years and many people think that I have a good temper. I will come out in 3 days. The Qing Emperor's eyes were filled with killing intent. Chapter 1270. It was Qing Emperor's doppelganger that stayed in the Azure Sky Pavilion. His original body had been cultivating for many years. Everyone wanted to improve their strength. Recently, when Night Sorrow came back, his doppelganger studied the heavenly mandate scripture. His original body had begun to cultivate. Qing Emperor also had a treasure that could accelerate time. Although it was not as terrifying as Night Sorrow's time and space pagoda, it was several times faster. His original body had already mastered it. His original body's strength had increased again, so Qing Emperor was not afraid to fight now. Good. If anyone dares to provoke us, we will fight. Xian Daozi was also in high spirits. Qing Emperor nodded. He had always been the strategist and used his wisdom to control the Qing Emperor's dynasty in the world of samsara. Now he felt that many people had forgotten that he, Qing Emperor, had also won the world through killing. Night Sorrow chatted with Datura every day. Datura told Night Sorrow that the heavenly mandate scripture was very effective and that she had also mastered it. Luo, how did you do it so fast? I remember that it took me a long time to master it, Night Sorrow said. Spatial treasures. Spatial treasures that can accelerate time are hard to come by, but there are still some in the supreme world. They are not as powerful as your pagoda of time and space, but they can still accelerate time by 3 to 5 times. However, cultivating the heavenly mandate scripture is too painful. It is simply unbearable, Mandela said. Indeed, but is this doppelganger not going to cultivate it? Night Sorrow looked at Datura and asked. There is no hurry. My original body's combat strength is the most important. My original body will come soon. When this storm is over, I will go and cultivate it, Datura said. Under normal circumstances, when the original body had successfully cultivated the secret combat techniques, the doppelganger could also use them. However, this true scripture of heavenly mandate could not be used. It could not be relied on perception alone. The original body and the doppelganger had to personally cultivate in order to have this ability. After all, condensing energy points in the body was not something that could be achieved through perception alone. Night Sorrow's clone had finished cultivating, but his original body had not yet finished cultivating. Now, his original body was comprehending the will of heaven and earth while cultivating the true scripture of heavenly mandate. If that's the case, my master's cultivation should be completed soon, and his combat strength will also increase, Night Sorrow said. That should be the case. Datura nodded. A month of wedding preparations passed by quickly. The wedding was held at the Heavy Flower Palace. The Qing Emperor sat in the main seat, and the leaders of various forces sat in the audience seats on both sides. The three princes, Night Sorrow, Green Unicorn and Green Phoenix, sat to the left of the Qing Emperor. Behind them was a prince. The host was Xian Daozi. First, they paid respects to heaven and earth, then to their parents and teacher. Their parents were memorial tablets, because Sandalwood and Yi's family had long since passed away. Then they paid respects to their teacher and offered tea. Sandalwood, I am very happy to see you get married. Today is your new beginning, the Qing Emperor said after receiving the tea. Thank you for your teachings, teacher. Thank you for not giving up for all these years, Sandalwood said with a bow. Authentic. Good. Xian Daozi, the ceremony continues. The Qing Emperor waved his hand and sat down. Then the couple bowed to each other and the ceremony was completed. Sandalwood took the flagon from the maidservant beside her and came to Night Sorrow. Brother, normally the older one does not respect the younger one, but this cup of wine is for you. Sandalwood took the flagon and poured 2 cups of wine, one for herself and one for Night Sorrow. Senior brother, there's no need to be so courteous between us. I wish senior brother and sister-in-law a happy life together. After receiving the wine cup, Yi Shang bowed to Chen Tan and Yi before drinking the wine. What are you two looking at? Get up and toast to your brother and sister-in-law. Sandalwood said to Qing Lin and Qing Wan. Eldest brother has always been so fierce. How could we dare to interrupt? Qing Wan waved at the maidservant who was holding a tray of wine and began to serve the wine. You two should be more obedient and harmonious. Why would I be fierce to you? The way you are now is very good, Sandalwood said as he had seen the changes in Qing Lin and Qing Wan. Xian Daozi then announced that the ceremony was complete. At this time, a black-robed elder in the audience stood up. Brother Qing did not send an invitation to the Xinwu continent, but the Martial God Hall found out about your disciple's wedding and came to watch the ceremony. I thank the Martial God Hall and Martial God Shiyang for coming. Qing Emperor cupped his hands. Now that the wedding is over, let's talk about something else. I heard that a brat from the Qing Emperor's empire obtained a heavenly Tao artifact. If Brother Qing had obtained it, then it would belong to the virtuous. Since Brother Qing did not obtain it, then take it out so that we can discuss who it belongs to, Martial God Shiyang of the Xinwu Great World's Martial God Hall said. Since when have you become so rational about snatching things? Qing Emperor looked at Shiyang and asked, "The worldly treasures belong to the virtuous. This is fate, and not even you can change this fate," martial god Shiyang said. "The virtuous will belong to the virtuous. Today I will ask who wants the heavenly Tao artifact and who thinks they are virtuous." Qing Emperor stood up and scanned the crowd. At this time, some people stood up, including the Blackfiend Valley's Li Tianba and Li Tianhu, the celestial sect's Ling Tian, and the Purple Crown Zhan Taiyang. The leader of another power also stood up. "That's right. There are quite a few of you. Are you virtuous? Let's not talk about whether or not my disciple has a heavenly Tao artifact. Even if he did, do you think he is more virtuous than him?" Qing Emperor looked at Li Tianba and Li Tianhu. "At the very least, we are powerhouses. What is he?" "He is not even a high-ranked king," Li Tianba said. "There is a saying that one should not bully a poor youth. Who knows what will happen in the future?" Tang Jianfeng said. "The future is a matter for the future. At the very least, he does not have the qualifications to possess it." Martial god Shi Yang's gaze landed on Night Sorrow. "Then do you have the qualifications to possess it? Besides, these are all groundless rumors," the Crimson Emperor said. At this moment, his words made his stance clear. "Groundless rumors? There is a saying that there is no smoke without fire. If he swears to the heavenly Tao that he does not possess a heavenly Tao artifact, then this matter will be over," Zhan Taiyang said. "I did not want to speak. What is going on? Do you think that our eastern region of the world of reincarnation is easy to bully and force to swear a heavenly Tao oath?" Datura said. "Who wants to cause trouble today? Stand up. I Qing Shangjuan am here. I have not had a conflict with anyone for many years. Do you think I am a pushover? Come. If you all want it, then come out and tell me." Qing Emperor's robes fluttered. A figure flashed in the direction of the Azure Sky Pavilion and merged with him. Original body. It was Qing Emperor's original body. "Qing Shangjuan, you should know that today's matter is irresistible. It is not something that you can bear alone. If he swears to the heavenly Tao oath that he has never seen a heavenly Tao artifact, then this matter will be over. If he does, then he must hand it over." "There is no other way," Ling Tian said. "You think you are worthy?" Qing Emperor spat out 4 words. Chapter 1271. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? I'll bring you an exciting novel to read. Qing Shangjuan, don't be so stubborn. I've already said that the heavenly artifact belongs to the virtuous. Even if you ask your disciple to hand it over, you'll still have a chance to get it. Isn't that right? Ling Tian said. "I'd rather die than live in dishonor. Whoever wants it, come out and fight." Qing Emperor didn't respond to Ling Tian's words at all. "Master, disciple has a few words to say." Night Sorrow stood up and said, "Night Sorrow, a gentleman must have an indomitable spirit. Being humble and polite is a must. However, when facing the enemy, one must be unyielding. If we were to be frightened by them and compromise, how can we face the world? How can we face ourselves? If there's anything, I'm here and I'll shoulder it," Qing Emperor said. He didn't want Night Sorrow to compromise when the situation was critical. Disciple understands Master's words. They're speaking in such a dignified manner. Disciple just has a few questions. Night Sorrow said. "Good." Qing Emperor nodded. "Everyone here is a big shot. Everyone wants the heavenly artifact. Of course everyone wants it. However, there needs to be a reason and a reason. What's your reason and reason? The virtuous one owns the heavenly artifact. Do you think it's virtuous?" Night Sorrow looked at the group of people coldly. "Brat, you're still wet behind the ears. Do you think you're worthy of knowing what virtuous is?" Ling Tian roared. "Do I deserve to know what virtuous is? Then I'll let you know what virtuous is." After speaking, Night Sorrow activated his virtuous body. Instantly, 3 feet of golden light circled behind his head. Ling Tian's expression changed. He knew what was going on. This was the virtuous body. "You're talking about virtuous with me? What virtuous do you have for the world? Let me see what you're like." Night Sorrow looked at Ling Tian. "There's everything. It's much more stable than the average website. It's also updated faster. It's all text with no advertisements." Ling Tian didn't say anything. Night Sorrow had used reality to ruthlessly trample on their reason for leaving. "One of you is a mute. What about the others? Putting aside whether or not I have a heavenly god artifact, even if I do, didn't you all say that it belongs to the virtuous? If any of you feel virtuous, you can step forward. Don't make it sound so glamorous. It's meaningless. No matter who dares to make a move today, I will first make them lose face. If you want to snatch it, sure, but if you are shameless, you can continue to torment me. Master, this disciple has finished speaking. Knight Sorrow returned to his seat. Awkward silence. There was no sound in the huge square. Because Knight Sorrow's move was ruthless enough, whoever brought up this matter in the future would be seen as shameless. Today's matter would definitely spread out. They were all big shots, so who would be willing to bear the name of being shameless? If he carried it on his back, he wouldn't be able to take it off. Furthermore, even if they were to bear the name of being shameless, it was hard to say whether they would be able to gain anything. There were so many big shots here. Not to mention other things, Qing Emperor was already difficult to pass. The Red Emperor and Datura had already expressed their stance and stood on Qing Emperor's side. Once the war started, it would be a fight to the death. There would be no end to it. No one was willing to accept such a thing. There's no need to make a big fuss over a rumor. Furthermore, even if Knight Sorrow has a heavenly god artifact, he is also a virtuous person. There's nothing for you to say. Sit down and drink. Treat it as giving me, Tang Jianfeng, some face. I don't want anyone to cause trouble at someone else's wedding. Tang Jianfeng said. Hearing Tang Jianfeng's words, Ling Tian and the others sat down. Because today's matter was already impossible. If they wanted to obtain the heavenly god artifact, they would have to think of another way. Seeing the group of people sit down, Qing Emperor sat down. The banquet continued, but there was no harmony to speak of. The Azure Supreme the Arch did not mind. If Yi Shang wanted to fight, he would accompany him. However, he did not expect Yi Shang to use his opponent's words to counterattack, making it impossible for his opponent to counter. Most importantly, Yi Shang had the body of merit. After the banquet ended, Qing Emperor looked at Knight Sorrow and Datura and told Xian Daozi to send the shadow guards to the 9 grand floors. Originally, Qing Emperor didn't plan to let Knight Sorrow return to the 9 grand floors because the 9 grand floors couldn't stop a big shot. However, with Datura as a guest in the 9 grand floors, he was relieved. With Datura in the 9 grand floors, the 9 grand floors was safer than the Azure Sky Pavilion. Knight Sorrow, Summer City, and the others returned to the 9 grand floors. Chapter M of the original version, Section Z. Your Highness, can you let the Angry Lin army set up a defense? There will be a guard every 10 steps. No one can sneak in, Angry Lin said. Okay, then you make the arrangements. Knight Sorrow nodded. He also knew that this was a special time. After returning to the hall of the 9 grand floors, Knight Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. I am the target of public criticism. I am being targeted by the real person. There was no big battle today, but after today there will be endless secret battles. This is unavoidable. Datura nodded. How about this? I still have things to take care of. I will first destroy the Tiannan dynasty and then completely wipe out the 9 regions world's calamity. If I am not in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, they won't do anything to the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Knight Sorrow said. Okay, but there is danger everywhere. We still have to be careful. The Sky Pillar wants the heavenly artifact too much, so they can do anything. They might go to the 9 Clouds World Group. Datura said. I will take one step at a time. If it doesn't work, I will go back to the 9 regions world and not come out. I don't want 7 Night City anymore. If they dare to mess around, don't let me have the power. If I have the power, I will kill them one by one. Knight Sorrow was a little angry because these things were too annoying. Right now we need to be steady. We will do whatever we can to be steady. Datura could understand Knight Sorrow's state of mind. After that, Knight Sorrow asked Summer City to tell the Qing Emperor that he would go back to the 9 regions world to take care of things. Then, Knight Sorrow once again gave the power of the 9 Heavens army to Angry Lin. After he returned from Xia City, he told Yi Shang that the Azure Emperor agreed with Yi Shang's idea. Yi Shang should not get involved in this mess. It would be like this whether he was around or not. After he left, the Qing Emperor did not have any burden. Knight Sorrow, there is no Sky Pillar in the 9 Clouds World Group. In order to prevent Sky Pillars from entering the 9 Clouds World Group, you can find the person in charge of the 9 Clouds World Group to close the teleportation formation. This way, other than your teleportation formation, no one else can enter the 9 Clouds World Group. The risk will be much lower, Datura said. That is a way. I need to communicate with the Divine Firmament Monarch. Also, Xuanji informed the God-slaying team to return. After a while, I will start a war with the Tiannan dynasty, Knight Sorrow said to Jun Xuanji. Okay, then the commander can go back first. I will inform and arrange things here, Jun Xuanji said. Your Highness, I and the Qing Emperor's guards can take care of these things. Summer City felt that there was no need to mobilize the god-slaying team because the members of the god-slaying team were still weak. The highest level was only a Saint King. No, they must participate. The Tiannan dynasty not only owes the Night Clan but also owes the people of the Nine Regions world. They must be present for the War of Revenge, Night Sorrow said. Summer City nodded. He also knew that this was not a matter of one person. Chapter 1272. Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second Go? This is a wonderful novel for you to read. Read the full text. Xian Tian Sovereign and Shang Xi sat opposite each other. The two were old friends and had not seen each other for tens of thousands of years. At this time Shang Xi was no longer king but a sovereign. Brother Shang, the world is ever changing. This king is powerless to change the situation of Tiannan dynasty today, Xian Tian Sovereign said. Tian Feng's destruction of human relations will come sooner or later. I know this very well. After all these years I went to the other world and gained something, so I came back to take a look, the white-haired and white-bearded Shang Xi said. Brother Shang, don't worry about Tiannan dynasty's matters? Xian Tian Sovereign said. He knew that even if Shang Xi was a sovereign, he could not stop Night Sorrow's revenge. I already know some things. Now no one can stop the Nine Domain World's revenge. They are also my daughter's descendants. I really can't bear to see them kill each other. Brother Qian is worried that I will get into trouble. I, Shang Xi, am not a person who can't differentiate between right and wrong. It is a matter of course for the Yi clan to seek revenge. Shang Xi nodded. The matter of his own children killing each other was extremely painful for him. This is a personal grudge. In addition, after Brother Shang left, Tiannan dynasty would kill and harvest the Nine Domain World every 10,000 years to collect Saint crystals as materials. This is an irreconcilable blood feud for the Nine Domain World, Xian Tian Sovereign said. Shang Xi nodded. In fact, the fault lies with me. Back then, my son-in-law and daughter were extremely talented and magnanimous. This made Tian Feng want to kill them. I should have dealt with it long ago, but I didn't expect him to be so crazy. I pity my daughter, my son-in-law, and my little grandson. Shang Xi was extremely sad because this was an indelible pain. The person in charge of Nine Domain World, Night Sorrow, is a member of the Night Clan. He is talented and has a meritorious body. He already has terrifying power in his hands. The Moon Demon Sovereign's death and the Grey Cloud Sovereign's death were all orchestrated by him. However, he is also your descendant. Xian Tian Sovereign said. He did not want Shang Xi and Night Sorrow to become enemies. Shang Xi was his old friend, and Night Sorrow had shown him kindness. Shang Xi nodded. There were some things that he knew he had to face. Night Sorrow brought Summer City and the Qing Emperor's guard back to Nine Clouds World. Then he went to Nine Cloud City's palace and asked to see the Emperor of Divine Night. Since the Divine Firmament Sovereign was not around, Night Sorrow met with the Purple Firmament Sovereign. That's not a problem. Just let me know when you can, Sovereign Zishao said. This might have some effect on the Nine Firmament World group, but if anyone has urgent matters they can go to the Sky Profound World. There will be people from the Seven Night City who will arrange for people to teleport there. That transmission array is strictly guarded, but there will be people who will enter the Nine Firmament World group to cause trouble. After some matters are resolved, the transmission array here can be reopened. Night Sorrow said. Then, Night Sorrow teleported back to Seven Night City. After meeting with Taishu Yen, Night Sorrow told her to inform the Nine Domains World's Commander-in-Chief's residence to gather at Taiching City in 3 days. After making the announcement, Night Sorrow returned to the city in the sky. Great Ancestor Qianhua, I plan to make a move on the Tiannan dynasty. After gathering the people we will set off. Night Sorrow said to Yi Qianhua who was waiting in the city in the sky. Night Sorrow, the Tiannan dynasty has moved to the Yuan Spirit World. With the protection of the Yuan Spirit Sovereign, it will be difficult for us to take revenge. Yi Tian said. Don't worry. Uncle Summer, if the Yuan Spirit Sovereign interferes with our Nine Domains World's revenge, we can only ask you to take action. Night Sorrow said to Summer City. No problem. Kill whoever gets in the way. Summer City nodded. Grandfather, Night Moon's people should also gather and prepare for war. This is the time for the Yi clan to take revenge. Night Sorrow said to Yi Linghuan. After making all the arrangements, Night Sorrow thought for a while and decided to deal with the Evil Spirit King and Sangjiang first. Once these two scourges were dealt with, the Nine Domains world would be completely stable. Night Sorrow's clone in the sky-sealing Great Hall had already confirmed the Evil Spirit King's cultivation. It was a 7-star king. Night Sorrow's clone and Ice Qilin rushed over. With the help of the clone in the sky-sealing Great Hall, they could fight. Ice Qilin had the strength to fight above his level. Night Sorrow could use the array to trap Sangjiang first. Then, the two clones and Ice Qilin would kill the Evil Spirit King first. After arriving at the sky-sealing Great Hall, Night Sorrow controlled the empty spirit pearl to rise from the bottom of the sky-sealing Great Hall. Then, the two clones and Ice Qilin rushed into the empty spirit pearl. The space inside the empty spirit pearl was not big. It only had a radius of a few dozen miles. The moment Night Sorrow entered, the battle began. Night Sorrow first threw out the array disc of the sky-sealing illusory killing formation to trap Sangjiang. Then the two clones used the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash and attacked the Evil Spirit King, who was a 7-star king. Two faint purple halos wrapped around the Evil Spirit King. Then the two halos attacked the Evil Spirit King. At this moment, the two halos carried a mysterious aura. It was the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash, which was led by the supreme attribute and fused with time and space energy, rules, and will. The Evil Spirit King's expression changed drastically. He roared and waved the longsword in his hand to block Night Sorrow's two halos. However, this was only the Evil Spirit King's thought. Night Sorrow was now determined to kill. How could he let the Evil Spirit King block his killing move so easily? When the Evil Spirit King blocked Night Sorrow's sky-sealing Great Hall clone's attack, the sky-sealing Great Hall clone used the vibration force to shake the Evil Spirit King's longsword away. Night Sorrow's sky splitter pierced into the Evil Spirit King's chest. Then the energy vibration sent the Evil Spirit King flying. With one move, the Evil Spirit King was severely injured. However, this was not the end. Ice Qilin's body flashed, and his horn slammed into the Evil Spirit King's back, sending the Evil Spirit King flying. Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash. Night Sorrow's two clones once again used the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash. At the same time, two crescent blades of the Soul Destruction Slash appeared and slashed toward the Evil Spirit King's Spirit Sea. Night Sorrow was now at the peak of a 4-star king. He was infinitely close to becoming a 5-star king. However, there was still a gap of more than 2 levels between him and the Evil Spirit King. Therefore, what he had to do now was to attack with thunderous means and not give the Evil Spirit King a chance to counterattack. He had to catch the Evil Spirit King off guard and kill him directly. Otherwise, it would be very troublesome to enter a stalemate. After all, his cultivation was still not enough. The Evil Spirit King could not withstand the two clones' attacks at the same time. Moreover, he was already injured. After blocking Night Sorrow's attack, his body was once again pierced by Night Sorrow's sky splitter, and a large amount of energy was drained. Square root 0 VF at this time, Night Sorrow's Soul Destruction Slash also arrived. The two Soul Destruction Slashes arrived in front of the Evil Spirit King's head. However, Night Sorrow's crescent blades did not cut into the Evil Spirit King's Spirit Sea as he wished. They were blocked by the Evil Spirit King's soul power defense. The Evil Spirit King's body was not strong, but his soul power was strong. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.